Greetings, this is yours truly, Lord Karo, welcome to my domain. Super Deku Part 5 Glamour explosions rattled both earth and sky as Izuku and Shigaraki continued their fight. If this fight continued, the earth itself would crumble. Deku has to end this quickly, said Uraraka following the explosions. Right you are, as we speak the earth's core is destabilizing with every punch, kick, and blast they dish out. If this goes on for another 10 minutes, the earth will be destroyed, said Beerus. The group's eyes went wide. Damn it, and there's not a goddamn thing we can do, Bakugo said, cursing his own weakness. No, there is something we can do. They all turned to Eri. We can believe that my dad will take him down before then. The group nodded and went back to watching the fight. Well, that's it, they could see. Whis and Beerus were having no trouble, but almost everyone else was. Izuku and Shigaraki were going back and forth and each would land a hit on each other, but that's about it. Now on the ground, Shigaraki rushed in with a hard right hook, only to have Izuku stop it with one hand. I may have underestimated you, Izuku, but no longer have a taste of my full power. From his fist, black aura began to spew out. Izuku was taken by surprise when a massive energy blast sent him flying back. Shigaraki then began to gather energy. Throwing his arm forward, he fired another blast towards Izuku. Managing to regain his composure, Izuku was on one knee when he looked up to see the blast heading towards him. He quickly jumped into the sky, barely managing to dodge that attack. Seeing another chance, Shigaraki fired off a barrage of small energy blasts towards Izuku. With nowhere to go, Izuku did his best to block them, which he successfully managed to. However, he was stuck there. If he moved, he would be hit by several blasts. Shigaraki smiled as he saw this. Flying up with his blasts, he hid behind them. Appearing quickly, and suddenly he managed to kick Izuku in the face, sending him crashing back down to earth. This time Izuku managed to land on his feet. Looking back up, he saw Shigaraki fire a black beam of energy towards him. Izuku cupped his hands together. Ha! He yelled out, firing a Kamehameha wave. The two beams crashed into each other. Each fighter gave out a powerful yell, giving everything they had to that blast. Unfortunately for Izuku, it wasn't enough. Shigaraki's blast began to slowly push Izuku's back. Shigaraki's blast was just a few meters from hitting Izuku. Die! Closing his fist, Shigaraki caused the blast to overpower Izuku's. The blast engulfed Izuku completely. It hit the earth and erupted into a massive fireball that broke apart the landscape. Shigaraki looked on as his blast, black in color, swallowed Izuku up. Deku! Uraraka yelled as the explosion ripped apart the surface. As the blast subsided, a massive crater several hundreds of miles wide was seen. Smoke began to rise from the crater. Eri fell to her knees. I is dad. Just then there was a silver spark coming from the smoke. No, there he is, Mari said, pointing it out. From the smoke, Izuku came flying out. His silver aura left a trail behind as he headed straight to Shigaraki. What? Shigaraki was not expecting Izuku to reappear so quickly. Izuku went in for a strike, but Shigaraki dodged out of the way. Shigaraki went for an uppercut, only to have Izuku lean back, dodging the attack. The two then jumped at each other and punched each other across the face. Recovering, they charged at each other. They locked hands and began a power struggle. Both fighters gritted their teeth. The pressure around them began to flatten the ground around him. You're more stubborn than I thought you would be, Izuku. Why won't you die? Shigaraki yelled out. Oh, just shut up, Izuku yelled out, leaning his head back and delivering the most brutal of headbutts. The hit was so hard that it broke Shigaraki's nose. Shigaraki reeled back in pain. Why, you bastard? Increasing his power, Shigaraki managed to hit Izuku in the stomach with his knee, causing him to spit out blood. Jumping back, Izuku gained some distance, only to have Shigaraki close the gap and begin to throw multiple punches. Izuku dodged them all, but as he did, Shigaraki pointed his hand towards him and fired another blast at close range. The blast hit Izuku, sending him flying up. You're mine. Shigaraki appeared above Izuku and delivered an elbow to Izuku's spine. Izuku yelled out in pain as he was sent crashing down to the floor. However, Shigaraki wasn't done. Focusing key to his fingers, Shigaraki fired off several death beams that hit Izuku while he was on the ground. As the dust cleared, Izuku laid on the ground face down and motionless. The silver aura his body was emitting had disappeared. This is bad, Himari said, concerned. Izuku was losing. Eri looked on in horror as her father was down for the count. Come on, dad. You can't give up. Get up, dad. Shigaraki landed a few meters in front of Izuku and could hear Eri yelling out even from so far away. What is she going on about? Well, doesn't really matter. Soon you will all be dead. Shigaraki then opened up his palms, and in his right hand was the energy of destruction. On the left was the pure black energy inside him. Joining his hands together, he fused the two energies together. The Hakai blast was now black in color with a light red haze around it. Uraraka took a deep breath. Deku, come on, get up. You have to win. We aren't the only ones counting on you. The whole world is counting on you. You didn't make it this far in life just to give up, did you? Your fights with E23, Vent, and your fight with Shigaraki now, they shaped you into something else. You are Deku. The Golden Warrior, the #1 hero, a loving husband, and an amazing father. So get up and show the people why you are the #1 hero. Show them the power of the Saiyan warrior race. Shigaraki scoffed. Please, if that B*TCH actually believes any of that crap, she's more delusional than ever. Just then Izuku began to push himself up. Why, you can punch me, kick me. Hell, you can even kill me, but don't you ever. As Izuku stood up, the silver aura began to appear once again, cutting through the air. Insult my Ochako. The silver aura of mastered Ultra Instinct shot out like a raging fire. Izuku launched himself towards Shigaraki and drop-kicked him so hard that they fell into the earth. However, Izuku was not done. As Shigaraki was reeling in pain, Izuku began to pummel him. Punch after punch, the two went deeper into the earth, cutting through it with ease, almost as if they were cutting through butter. You little, take this, Shigaraki yelled out, raising his fists. He then slammed Izuku on the back. Ha! Shigaraki yelled out as his aura flared out. The group above the ground saw the area around them turn black. Uraraka's eyes went wide. We need to move. Mahoro commanded the giant eagle to move. Just as they got a few meters away, black aura erupted from the ground, shattering Mahoro's eagle. The siblings fell to the ground, but lucky for them, Uraraka and Himari caught them before they hit the ground. They found a pillar amongst the devastation and landed atop of it. Looking up, a silver glow was seen flying within the black aura. There's Dad! Eri yelled out. Flying up and through the aura was Izuku trying to reach Shigaraki. The two threw a punch. Their fists met. The impact dispersed the aura around them. Watching from a distance was Beerus and Whis. His movements are getting faster. Even I'm having trouble keeping up with them, said Beerus. Whis nodded. Indeed, after Shigaraki insulted his wife no less. Reminds me of a certain prince we once knew. Saiyan rage, one of the most powerful things in the universe. In the air, Izuku flew back, gaining distance. As he did, he raised his hand up flat. Shigaraki watched as Izuku created several destructo discs. The discs buzzed through the air. Throwing his hands down, Izuku commanded the discs to drop down towards Shigaraki. Seeing them coming, Shigaraki focused his ki on his fists. As they approached, he'd smash each one into pieces. However, he did not see the one that was coming from underneath. He only heard the buzzing sound at the very last second. The blade cut Shigaraki across the chest. Gah! He yelled out in pain. Izuku smiled at his work. This was the first real big damage he did to Shigaraki. Why, you bastard! Shigaraki yelled out, grabbing his chest. Yes, Izuku did it. All he has to do now is finish him off, Himari said. Uraraka could feel it. This was it. Do it, Deku, finish him. Gritting his teeth, Shigaraki looked at Izuku. If you think I would just stand here and let you kill me, you are sorely mistaken. For the sake of my objective, my ideals, my goals, I will sacrifice it all to achieve them. Faster than Shigaraki could react, Izuku appeared in front of him. Scared, Shigaraki threw a punch only to have the image of Izuku disappear. What? An after image? Right here, Izuku said, appearing behind Shigaraki. As Shigaraki turned, Izuku delivered a powerful blow to his gut. Hunching forward, Izuku grabbed him by the arm and began to swing him around. With a powerful yell, Izuku threw Shigaraki into the air. As he flew into the air, Izuku then reeled back his fist. Bakugo recognized this move, that stance. Bakugo, you know it? Asked Uraraka. He nodded. Yeah, there's no way I could forget it. It's the same move he did to defeat the Nomu back at the USJ all those years ago. You're knocked out, Ochako, so I would pay attention. Uraraka looked back at Izuku. Whoa, I've seen most of his moves but never this one. Izuku then flew after Shigaraki. As he did, his fist began to emit a silver glow before transforming into the head of a silver dragon. The group watched, then silver dragon, much like Shenron with blood-red eyes, began to manifest around Izuku. With a powerful roar, the dragon opened its jaws. Shigaraki barely stopped himself when he heard the roar. Looking down, his eyes widened. No! He yelled out, creating a massive ball of energy fused with destruction. The ball of energy fell towards Izuku. Seeing this, Izuku threw his hand forward, allowing the dragon to fly. The dragon began to roar as it coiled around the energy blast, finally wrapping around it. The dragon sunk its jaws into the ball, ripping it apart. What? As the dragon was tearing it apart, it began to squeeze, until finally it popped, sending sparks of black energy in every direction. The dragon then looked at Shigaraki and roared. Then a voice was heard. This is it, Shigaraki, Dragon Fist. Appearing from the jaws of the dragon, Izuku smashed straight through Shigaraki's torso. Uraraka's eyes went wide. Himari couldn't believe Izuku had something so powerful stashed away. Eri stepped back in awe from the attack. Mahoro and Katsuma were in shock, and Bakugo smiled as he remembered back then. Shigaraki couldn't believe it. He looked down to his torso with a gaping hole. Blood began to trail down the hole. Why, you? What did you do to me? He said, coughing out blood as he fell to the ground. Izuku watched Shigaraki fall, his silver aura lighting up the area around him. On the ground, Uraraka smiled. He did it. The group began to cheer and celebrate. However, Beerus and Whis were not. No, it's not over yet. He's still alive, said Beerus. The group stopped and looked back. Impossible. He has a F*** Ken hole in his chest. How is he still alive? Bakugo asked in shock. No, don't you feel it, Bakugo? His energy, it's not the same as it was before. This fight is as good as over, said Himari. Shigaraki's body laid on the ground. Somehow he was still breathing. Izuku then landed a few meters away. Please, spare me. Izuku began to walk over towards the fallen Shigaraki. You dare ask for mercy? How many innocent people have you killed? So many years of terror and death, and yet when it's finally your turn, you dare ask for mercy? What about the families you tore apart? The friendships you ruined? The futures you extinguished? You don't deserve mercy. I'm ending this now? Izuku then began to charge up a ball of blue energy in his hands. Shigaraki coughed out blood. I know I've done some terrible things. Some unforgivable things. But you are a hero, aren't you? Izuku paused. The number one hero to be exact. It's your job to save people, help people. Why you wouldn't want to be seen as a merciless hero who killed a man who was beaten already? So what you're asking is for me to take you to jail? Let you stay in a jail cell, is that it? Izuku asked, twitching. Why yes, it's the heroic thing to do, Shigaraki said as blood dripped down his lip. Izuku gritted his teeth. No, I won't do that. Just then the blue ball of energy disappeared from his hand. But I won't kill someone who is already down. Uraraka, Eri, Bakugo, and Himari's eyes all went wide. What? Izuku, don't do this, finish him off. He can't be allowed to live, Himari yelled out. If you let him live there might be a chance for him to come back even stronger than before. Himari was about to jump towards them to finish the job herself when Isamu grabbed her. Wait. Father has something planned, I know it, please just wait. When did you? But before Himari could say anything else Uraraka interjected. Wait, Himari. If Izuku doesn't finish him off you can do as you please. For now let's see what he will do, said Uraraka. Shigaraki got to his knees and bowed. Thank you, thank you, thank you, he yelled out as Izuku turned around and began to walk away. Thank you, thank you, thank you, for making it so easy, he yelled out gathering every ounce of energy he had left and condensing it into an energy blast. Die, Shigaraki yelled out, firing the blast at Izuku while his back was turned. Shigaraki didn't know it but as Izuku walked away he smiled. Thanks for that, now I can do this. Izuku spun out of the way, dodging the blast. Shigaraki began to shake. Impossible, there's no way you dodged from this close. Turning to face Shigaraki, Izuku smirked. Why you? Bastard. Standing up Shigaraki jumped at Izuku in one final attempt to kill him. However as he was in mid-air Izuku held out his hands towards Shigaraki. As if possessed he stopped in mid-air with a silver aura around him. What? I can't move. Izuku then pulled back his arms causing Shigaraki to float towards him. Now right underneath Izuku he held him in place. Crouching down, Izuku prepared. Ha! He yelled out jumping up towards Shigaraki, fists clenched. With a loud THOOM Izuku delivered a hard hit to Shigaraki's face. The impact was so strong that it sent a shockwave in an upward motion. Far above the earth was the moon. The world watched as the moon was suddenly cracked by the sheer shockwave of Izuku's hit. It took a second after the hit but what followed was a powerful gust of wind. It managed to knock everyone in Japan and most of Asia down. Buildings crumbled, bridges fell, and cars flipped. Down on the ground the group jumped in front of the siblings shielding them from the wind. They managed to save them but only barely. Uraraka watched as Shigaraki was sent flying uncontrollably as blood poured from his mouth. Izuku landed on the ground gracefully before looking up at Shigaraki. As the wind settled Izuku cupped his hands together. A blue ball of energy then began to appear. Kamehameha. The blue beam of energy shot into the sky. Shigaraki who was in the upper atmosphere finally began to slow down and stop. However he didn't even have time to react when the blue beam of energy shined over him. In his final moments Shigaraki smiled. Well played. The Kamehameha swallowed up Shigaraki completely. In the blast he didn't struggle, he didn't even try to fight back. Shigaraki knew this was it. He could feel it. This heat, his cells being ripped apart. Strangely enough it didn't hurt. It felt warm, calming, maybe it was the blood loss, but Shigaraki didn't care. As he closed his eyes one final time Shigaraki could see nothing but black. Just then someone appeared. Who's that? He asked himself. The figure then reached out to him, almost as if it was calling to him. Reaching out, Shigaraki grabbed the person's hand. As he did the figure began to take shape. The figure turned to a tall slender woman. Her hair was dark and straight, kept shoulder length with the exception of a clump of short bangs hanging above her forehead, and styled in a half-up half-down bun. Shigaraki couldn't believe it. Grandma? It's time, come on everyone is waiting for you, Nana said with a smile. Shigaraki was confused. Everyone? You done enough my son, it's time for you to rest, a voice said behind him. Turning around Shigaraki found a tall man with white hair. Master. But how? It's a long story, All for One said placing a hand on Shigaraki's back. Come on let's go meet the rest. As they walked Shigaraki looked up to the outlines of his family. Outside Shigaraki's body was reduced to nothingness as the blast shot higher into the emptiness of space. Letting the Kamehameha dissipate, Izuku looked up. So long Shigaraki, may we meet in the next life. Is it over? Eri asked. Himari and Uraraka focused trying to find Shigaraki's energy. They both smiled. Yeah, it's over. Deku did it. He defeated Shigaraki, Uraraka said as a tear fell from her face. Eri fell to her knees, tears then followed. Bakugo smiled at his best friend. Way to go Deku. Izuku then turned his attention to Uraraka. He smiled as he put his fist up. What do you guys say? One more time for All Might, he said. The group smiled and put up their fists, plus, you. Be a dumb asterisk as they were saying All Might's famous slogan. Izuku's body finally gave out. Blood splattered out of Izuku's body as a large laceration appeared across his chest. Izuku fell to the ground. His body then began to produce steam almost as if he was burning from the inside out. Izuku managed to push himself to his knees. His breathing suddenly became erratic. He could feel it, something was happening. Suddenly his silver hair and eyes reverted back to its natural color rather forcefully. Just then dark black ki with purple electrical shocks erupted from his body causing excruciating pain. Ga hhhhhhh. Izuku reeled back in pain as the dark black ki was sent in every direction. Deku! Uraraka yelled out shocked as the ki crackled around them. What's happening to him? Himari asked. The divine power of the gods. No mortal should be able to wield this kind of power. Yet Izuku shattered his limits and achieved this power, and now it seems his time is up, explained Whis. Is there anything we can do? Asked Eri, panicking as she heard her father's yells. Whis shook his head. No, we have to let this play out. Himari's eyes went wide. But if this goes on any longer, he will die. Beerus said bluntly. Uraraka wouldn't accept this. And no, not after everything. He can't. I won't let him die. It was as if Uraraka's body moved on its own. To the surprise of everyone she jumped and flew straight towards Izuku. Deku. Izuku could feel it. His body was giving out on him. It hurts so much. Please someone make it stop. Make it stop. That's when he heard it. Deku. Somehow Izuku managed to open his eye. Through the black and purple ki he could see something coming his way. Deku. Uraraka was flying towards him. Izuku strained himself to talk. Don't, stay away. Flying in Uraraka was scratched by the black ki. Blood began to run down her cuts as she got closer. I can't give up. I need to reach him, she yelled out pushing herself forward. Just then one of the black ki changed course and began to head straight towards Uraraka. She braced for the impact but someone jumped in front of it. A massive explosion knocked the person out of the sky. As the smoke cleared she saw who it was. Bakugo. He smiled as he fell. Shut up and keep going. Don't worry, you'll make it, I promise. Himari said, appearing beside Uraraka. Stay behind me, I'll be your shield. Right. With that the two flew towards Izuku. Himari fired off blasts towards the black ki redirecting them. However Himari would soon fall victim when multiple beams hit her, knocking her down. Keep going, she yelled out. Uraraka was so close. Deku, she reached out to him as the black ki pierced her arms and legs. Get out of my way, she yelled out letting her ki erupt from her body. Pushing aside the black ki she made it. Uraraka made it to Izuku. Deku, listen to my voice. You have to best this somehow, she said, hugging Izuku. Black ki continued to course out of him. Can't it hurts so much, he barely managed to get out the words as pain kept running through his body. Uraraka started to panic. She could feel his body temperature increasing. Why you have to focus, Deku? Think of something, anything. However he couldn't do it. Izuku was in too much pain to focus. Uraraka could see blood dripping from his nose as his body deteriorated. Come on Ochako, think. Then she realized it, this is probably going to hurt but oh well. Uraraka leaned in and kissed Izuku on the lips. As she did, she could feel pain running throughout her body. Izuku's eyes widened as he felt Uraraka's lips on his. The black ki suddenly stopped coming out of Izuku's body, even the pain was subsiding. Uraraka pulled away from the kiss. Ochako. Uraraka smiled, it's fine, you can never hurt me. Izuku's consciousness began to fade. Falling on Uraraka's chest he finally closed his eyes. Deku? Hey Deku? Wake up. Deku? No. Come on Deku, wake up. Uraraka began to shake him, trying to wake him up but it wasn't working. The fight is done. Izuku has won. Shigaraki is dead for good this time. However, will Izuku be able to survive the backlash of Mastered Ultra Instinct? Will the Earth recover? All will be answered on the final chapter of Super Deku. I will be spending all this week on the final chapter, and try to give it the farewell it deserves. I'm still going back and correcting my mistakes on previous chapters so please bear with me. Farewell, Deku, until we meet again. Shortly after Izuku fell unconscious, Whis and Beerus got a message on the staff. Uraraka couldn't see who it was but whoever it was, they managed to scare Beerus. Even Whis who was calm and collected showed signs of nervousness. Uraraka tried to plead for help but they refused and took off into the sky at light speed. After falling unconscious Izuku was taken to a specialized trauma center on the now rebuilt island. His condition was slowly deteriorating, they quickly tried everything they could, hooked him up to every possible machine but nothing seemed to be working. His condition was so bad he no longer could breathe on his own, he needed the help of a ventilator to keep him going. Izuku, Himari, and Isamu were all in critical condition. Bakugo was in stable condition. If it wasn't for Katsuma's quirk they would have been dead by now. Being on an island they got help from Melissa, and lucky for them she had an experimental device that might be able to help them. They moved the three Saiyans into separate specialized rooms. Inside of each room there was a giant white tank. Each tank had a glass hatch where someone could go inside. Uraraka was in the room when they placed Izuku inside it. What is that, Melissa? Izuku was hooked up to some wires and given a breathing mask. This is called a medical machine. I was building these in case Izuku or Himari needed them. The glass hatch was sealed. As it shut, a green water began to fill the tank, completely submerging Izuku. The liquid has synthetic Saiyan DNA. The liquid will penetrate their skin and hopefully heal them," explained Melissa, going over to check his vitals on another monitor. "Unfortunately, this is experimental and hasn't been tested. But it can't make their condition worse." Uraraka nodded. "Thanks, Melissa. We owe you big time. If it works, how long will it take to heal them?" "Himari should be healed in 2 days, Isamu in 4, but Izuku, I'm not so sure. Considering his condition, it could take a week or maybe even a month. Even then, I can't guarantee he will be the same as he was before," Melissa said with a sad expression on her face. Uraraka then walked over to Melissa and touched her shoulder. "Don't worry, Deku will be just fine. I know he will." It has now been a whole week since Izuku was placed into the medical machine, and just as Melissa said, Himari and Isamu were healed within the week. Himari and Isamu commented on how much stronger they felt. It was thanks to the Zenkai boost they received. Izuku, on the other hand, still wasn't healed. His condition wasn't getting worse, but it wasn't improving either. Himari and Bakugo walked into the room where they had Izuku. Once inside, they found Uraraka holding a sleeping Isamu in her arms and Eri sleeping in a chair to the side. "Hey, we wanted to check up on him," Himari said. "Hey guys, he's still the same, no changes. The good thing, I guess, is that his condition isn't getting any worse," Uraraka said. Her voice was tired. "Why hasn't this worked? I mean, it worked for Himari and Isamu, and they're both Saiyans. I don't get it," Bakugo said, looking at his friend in the tank. Uraraka shrugged. "I don't really know, but if I had to guess, it probably has something to do with the godly power he displayed in the fight. That was a power that surpassed the gods themselves, and Izuku, being immortal, had no right to reach that level. But to this extent, the pain he must have felt when he depowered must have been excruciating," said Himari. "When I kissed him, the pain I felt was unbearable. I could only imagine what it felt for him," Uraraka said, closing her eyes before quickly snapping them back open. "You should get some rest, Ochako. I will look after little Isamu for you," said Himari, concerned about her. "She's right, go check on the other Isamu. We'll watch over him," Bakugo said, turning to Uraraka. Uraraka wasn't so sure about this. "Come on, Mom, we can use the break," Eri said. Uraraka sighed. "Alright then, take care of him and watch his head." She then handed over little Isamu over to Himari. Eri and Uraraka went to check on the older Isamu. He was currently in the physical therapy area of the hospital. Melissa wanted to see if there were any effects of being in the medical machine. They walked into the room that had a sort of pressure plate thing. Isamu was under it, pushing up. "That's good, Isamu. You are lifting over 4,000 tons. Most impressive," Melissa said, stopping the machine. Isamu exhaled. "Thanks, so is that it?" Melissa nodded. "Yeah, I got all the information I need. I can safely say that being in that machine has no after effects." She then turned to find Uraraka and Eri. "Oh hey, you two, what's going on?" "We wanted to check up on Isamu, that's all. So how is he? Good, I hope?" Uraraka asked. "He's better than good, he's back to 100%, said Melissa. "And stronger than ever," Isamu said, flexing. Uraraka laughed. "Easy there, kid, you should be taking it easy." "I'm fine. Besides, it's Dad I'm more worried about," he said, looking down. "He'll be fine, Isamu. Just give him a bit more time. If I know Deku, which I do, he's probably waiting for the perfect moment to wake up," Uraraka said with a smile on her face. Isamu nodded. "Yeah, you're right. So Isamu, when are you heading back to your timeline?" asked Eri. "Once Dad is up on his feet, I'll head out. I can't stay for too much time here. My presence is polluting the time stream as we speak, so it's best if I leave soon. Besides, I can't keep her waiting for too long or else she'll be worried," said Isamu, blushing slightly. "Oh, who are you talking about? Could it be a girlfriend?" Eri said, teasing Isamu. Isamu blushed even harder. "And no. Yes, someone we might know in the future?" Uraraka asked. "Actually, yeah, you see, it's actually Ba." However, before he could finish that sentence, he suddenly felt a large key source appear seemingly out of nowhere. The whole of island then shook violently. "Who the heck is that?" Uraraka said, looking up. "It's coming from Deku." Isamu, Eri, and Uraraka all ran towards Izuku's room at full speed. "Are we under attack?" Eri asked, running alongside them. "I don't know, but whoever this is, they're strong, really strong," Isamu said as they reached the floor Izuku was at. As they got to Izuku's room, they found Himari and Bakugo standing beside the medical machine. "Hey, what's wrong?" Uraraka asked. As she reached the machine, her eyes widened. The glass hatch was melted from inside out, and across from it was a hole in the wall. "We stepped out to get little Isamu some food, but as we were leaving, something showed up," Himari explained, holding little Isamu. Just then the group sensed a key above them. "There!" Eri yelled out. They then flew out of the hole in the wall and into the sky. There they found someone floating in midair. Surrounding the person, they were shocked when they saw who it was. Deku. Standing in front of them was Izuku, the wind blowing as he turned towards Uraraka. "Hey everyone, miss me?" he said with a smile. Uraraka began to cry as she threw herself at Izuku. "Deku," she yelled out, wrapping him in a hug. Eri quickly followed suit. "Hey now, it's alright, I'm fine. There's no need to cry." Bakugo smiled. "How can you say that when you're clearly crying too?" Himari, still holding little Isamu, gave a quick jab to Bakugo's side. "Shut up, let them have their moment." After calming down, Izuku was taken back inside, where he found a very angry Melissa. Apparently the medical machine cost a fortune to make and he just destroyed one of only 3. Now that Izuku was up, Isamu was going to leave, but Izuku convinced him to stay for one more night so they could be a family. They explored the newly rebuilt island, they played, drank, and danced the night away. Come morning it was time for Isamu to leave. Well, this is it guys, it's time for me to go back to my timeline. Izuku, Eri, Uraraka, little Isamu, Bakugo, and Himari all stood in front of him. Take care son. I know whatever the future may hold for you, you'll be able to handle it, said Izuku. Isamu smiled, right. Uraraka then walked up to Isamu. Take care son, she said hugging him. Isamu hugged his mother. I will mom, take care of this little one for me yeah? He said, patting little Isamu on the head. I'll make sure he, well, you, grow up to be an amazing person. Oh and, Uraraka leaned in and whispered. Looks like future me is going to have grandkids before I do, so take care of that girlfriend of yours. Isamu blushed. Mom, Uraraka laughed, a blushing mess just like your father, stay safe. Isamu smiled, yes. He then turned to Bakugo, his master in his timeline. Bakugo nodded and gave him a thumbs up. Isamu nodded in return. I think it's time for me to go then. He then clicked a button on his watch. The watch then transformed into a small circular platform. Thank you everyone, for everything. Our time was short but I enjoyed every second of it, well maybe not almost dying but you get the point. Isamu said as a bright light began to engulf him. Make the future a better one son. Izuku yelled out as Isamu disappeared. The following week was one of the saddest of Izuku's life, for today it was All Might's funeral. Without the Dragon Balls they couldn't bring him back, all of Japan took the day off to remember this once great hero. The ceremony was grand, people lined the streets outside of the cathedral for miles. Heroes from across Japan came together to say goodbye to the former number 1 hero. Izuku and all of Class 1A were in the front row in full hero costumes. The ceremony was short but sweet, now it was finally time to take All Might to his final resting place. Izuku with the help of Uraraka, Eri, Himari, and Bakugo carried All Might outside. Lemillion was in the front escorting them. The procession went through the entire city of Tokyo. Men, women, children tossed roses towards the casket as it passed by. Near the end of the procession they took off into the sky so All Might could get one last look at the city, know the country he helped defend for so many years. Finally arriving at the graveyard the heroes found a giant 20-foot-tall gold statue of All Might in his prime. As they lowered his body Izuku and Uraraka cried. Now it was Izuku's turn. Flying up into the air Izuku composed himself and transformed into a Super Saiyan. Uraraka, Bakugo, and Himari joined him in letting out their ki, shooting it out into the sky. Izuku then kicked it up to SSJ2 and SSJ3, as he did lightning followed his ki up as he transformed. He then turned into a Super Saiyan God, his godly red ki filled the skies, everyone around Japan saw his ki. Izuku then looked down, he saw the smiling faces of his friend and nodded. He clenched his fists, ha! With a powerful yell Izuku transformed into a Super Saiyan Blue. All around Japan everyone put their fists up in the air because they knew it was time to send off All Might with his famous catchphrase, plus ultra. Izuku turned to the heavens above, so long All Might, you can rest easy knowing that we will protect this world from whoever tries to threaten it. The class decided to have a party to celebrate Izuku's victory over Shigaraki and to celebrate All Might's life. And where else to have it than the place that started it all, Takoba Municipal Beach. The same place Izuku and Uraraka had their wedding, the same place Izuku trained, the same place Izuku trained with Master Roshi, and the day his life changed. The sun was setting and the party was still going strong, however someone was missing. Izuku was nowhere to be seen. Hey Bakugo, where's Deku? Uraraka asked. Bakugo looked around. Don't know, he was here a minute ago. Uraraka started to get worried. Hey Momo, you mind taking care of Isamu for a bit? Momo nodded. Of course, she said grabbing little Isamu. Momo was the most responsible out of all the group and she wasn't drunk so that was a plus. Uraraka walked down the pier but still couldn't find him. Where did you go Deku? She focused and got a faint sensation of his energy. There you are, she then jumped into the air and down the shoreline. Izuku was sitting down on the sand looking at the sunset when he heard someone land on the sand behind him. Looks like you found me, he said smiling. What are you doing here Deku? Uraraka asked, walking behind him. I was thinking about some stuff, that's all, he said, still looking at the sunset. Uraraka then took a seat beside him. Want to talk about it? Izuku took a deep breath. It's about the fight, I almost died. I mean you've died before, said Uraraka. Yeah but we still had Dragon Balls then, if I died or anyone won you died during that fight it would have been for good. The thought of leaving you, Eri, Isamu behind, Izuku dug his hands into his face. If I failed, it would have meant everyone I cared about died. Uraraka reached out and gave Izuku a hug. Well you didn't, we are still here and it's all because of you. Besides, you did promise, she said with a smile. Izuku looked up. Promise. Don't tell me you forgot. Wow Deku, Uraraka began to laugh. Remember you promised you'd never leave us again and you've kept that promise. Izuku smiled. Yeah, I did promise that. Uraraka got up. So don't you dare feel bad Deku, you are the world's savior. Now come on, let's go back to the others, she said holding out a hand. Izuku reached out and grabbed her hand. I guess you're right, we are alive and that's all that really matters now, he said standing up. However, before he could start walking, someone tackled him, pushing him towards the sea. Izuku managed to kick the person away. Now floating over the ocean he saw that it was Himari. What the? Come on Izuku, let's fight. I want to see how much stronger you've gotten since last time. Himari said, transforming into a SSJ2. Izuku smiled. Alright, bring it. Ha! In a blinding blue light Izuku emerged as a Super Saiyan Blue. The two flew at each other causing shockwaves that rattled the beach. Looks like they still have a lot of energy, Bakugo said, appearing with the rest of Class 1A. Seems that way, these Saiyans never stop fighting, do they? Uraraka asked as she was handed little Isamu. Nah, they will continue to fight and grow stronger. Bakugo said smiling. I get the feeling their power has no limits and we are in for something truly amazing. Little Isamu saw both Saiyans fighting and laughed. Just then a golden aura began to surround Isamu. Uraraka's eyes went wide. What the, Isamu? Just then Isamu began to fly towards Izuku, surprising everyone on the beach and almost giving Uraraka a heart attack. In the air Izuku and Himari locked hands and began to let out their aura. What's wrong Izuku, why don't you go into that form like you did with Shigaraki? Don't go holding back on me. Izuku pushed back, I can't do it. What? Himari said, surprised. It seems like it was just a one-off thing. During that fight I was pushed past my limits so I can't use it freely, said Izuku. Himari smiled. Oh. That just means all I have to do is train and soon I'll be able to catch up to you. Izuku smirked. Dream on. You'll never be able to surpass me. They suddenly felt a small key source approach them. Turning they found little Isamu flying towards them. Isamu. Izuku yelled out shocked. Izuku reached out and plucked Isamu out of the air. You can fly. This is amazing, you're so young. Himari smiled. Well, it seems Saiyan blood runs well in his veins. Looks like my kid will have the perfect sparring partner. Maybe, just maybe. For now let's head back down, everyone is waiting for us. Izuku said looking down at the beach. All of his friends were there waving at him, smiling. For a second Izuku swore he saw Master Roshi, Goku, and Vegeta standing behind his friends, but as he did a double take they were gone. Thank you everyone for everything. With Lord Beerus. Beerus walked outside his palace with Whis right behind him. Whis could tell something was bothering Beerus. What's wrong my lord? You're unusually quiet. I'm still thinking of Izuku, the power he displayed, it was like nothing I've ever seen. Beerus explained. Whis nodded, yes, his power level is something else to say the least. He might be even stronger than Goku when he mastered it. That's what has me worried, his power already surpasses my own. He then looked at Whis. And what about you angels? Whis thought about it, if he does master Ultra Instinct, then it would be tough to see the difference, he said with a smile. What? That's strong. Beerus yelled out, his eyes wide. Well whatever, for now he is safe. But for how long? If he is not prepared, then he will face hardship like no other, was said looking up to the sky. Back with Izuku. Izuku and his friends watched the sunset, for they knew now was a time for peace. However, a hero's work is never done, there will always be crime to fight, villains to put away, and people who would want to do others harm. Heroes aren't born, they are made. Izuku, deemed useless at the age of 4, has grown into the most powerful person on the planet. However, he doesn't do it alone, Izuku has friends and family to keep him on the right path. This is the journey that will never end, the struggle to push beyond all limits and redefine the meaning of power. New and mighty foes will arise, new adventures will begin, and Izuku and his fellow heroes will be ready. Until then we bid you farewell, Bloodline. It has now been 7 years since the end of the fight with Shigaraki, during that time the world was at peace. There was always the top-rated villain that would pop up, but with Izuku and Himari they would be quickly taken care of. Even after all these years Izuku was still the top hero, not only in Japan, but in all of the world. His face and name were known worldwide thanks to the rescues he has done all over the world. However, not everything was perfect. His now 7-year-old son Isamu was constantly feeling the pressure of having such a well-known and powerful father. People always had high hopes for him, but he felt that he would let them all down. Izuku tried to tell his son not to compare himself with him, but how could he not? He was the son of the #1 hero. Isamu was a Saiyan, so he had a bit of pride, but he was a quiet and shy boy who just wanted to leave his father's shadow. He loved training with his dad, but he always felt that he was not living up to expectations. One day Isamu was walking back home from school. Man, I have training with dad today. Isamu sighed, I sure hope I don't mess up like last time. However, as he was walking someone suddenly called out his name, Isamu. Turning around Isamu was suddenly tackled to the ground, what the? On top of him was a girl with short black hair with a bit of blonde streaks, she also had magenta-colored eyes that resembled gems. Oh hey, it's just you. Do you mind getting off of me? You're kind of heavy, said Ismail looking up at the girl. The girl pouted, how can you be so mean to your childhood friend? The girl got off of Isamu, sorry Kagaya, I didn't mean that. This was Kagaya Bakugo, son of Katsuki Bakugo and Himari, and best friends with Isamu. You better be sorry, or I might just mess with you again. Kagaya said with a devilish smile. Isamu's eyes widened, please no. Kagaya then turned to Isamu, Isamu, run. Oh come on. He yelled out as his aura flared, he then quickly took off into the sky. Kagaya then quickly followed, run as fast as you want Isamu, I'll still catch you. Isamu was then chased over the city and towards the beach. While flying Isamu looked back to see Kagaya right behind him and with her hand pointed at him, oh no. Kagaya then fired a ki blast, lucky for Isamu it missed and flew right past him. However, that's just what Kagaya wanted, she then closed her hand causing it to explode. Isamu was flying too fast to dodge out of the way, he tried to put his arms up but he was knocked out of the air. Isamu then hit the sand and slid to a stop on the beach. Ow. Just then Kagaya appeared and landed on the beach. She then touched his back, I win, that's 98 wins for me, and 0 for you. Isamu flipped over and stared at the sky, yeah whatever. Kagaya then joined him and laid beside him, you aren't much of a fighter huh? Isamu rolled his eyes, I know. And you have such a powerful dad too. Said Kagaya. You should be strong like him. Isamu flinched, and what if I don't want to be him? Kagaya sat up, Isamu what's wrong? You never get mad like that. Isamu sighed and sat up, it's just, everyone wants me to become my dad, strong and powerful. But I'm not like him, I'm weak. I can't even control my ki properly. The only thing I can do is control gravity like mom can. He then raised his hand and activated his gravity quirk on a rock nearby, causing it to float. Kagaya heard the sadness in his voice, look, you don't have to have your dad's powers to be powerful. You're awesome with or without them, it's one of the reasons I like you. Kagaya said that last part in a low voice. Isamu blushed when Kagaya said that, why you really think so? Kagaya smiled, I know so. Now come on, let's go, we have training today with your dad. The two then got up and took off once again into the sky, but this time they flew to Isamu's house. They landed in front of a large house and walked in, Mom, I'm home. Announced Isamu. Ochako then walked out of the living room holding a tablet, oh hey Isamu, hey Kagaya, how was school? It was fine I guess, said Isamu. Is dad around? We were supposed to have training right now. He's on his way, he got called for a rescue mission in China. Explained Uraraka. Isamu nodded, oh okay, we'll just get warmed up then. Come on Kagaya, let's go get changed. Thanks for having me Mrs. Midoriya. Kagaya said bowing before quickly following Isamu. The two then went to go get changed, walking into the training area that was upstairs. The two sported gis similar to Izuku's. Kagaya tightened the belt around her waist, so want to do some sparring. Sure, said Isamu as they walked towards the empty space. The two then stood across from each other and got into their battle stances. The air around them turned cold as they stared at each other. When out of nowhere, they rushed at each other. The two then blocked each other's attack with their forearms, sending a shockwave throughout the house. Kagaya smiled, you may not be a fighter like your dad but you still got guts Isamu. The two then jumped back, well it's only natural, we are Saiyans. Flying at each other the two began to throw punches, back and forth the two went until Kagaya managed to punch Isamu in the stomach causing him to hunch over. Kagaya then raised her arm to bury Isamu, but in the last second Isamu jumped up and hit Kagaya underneath the chin sending her flying backwards. Without giving her a chance to recover Isamu came flying right at Kagaya, seeing this she quickly leaned back and kicked Isamu in midair. Isamu was sent towards the ceiling but before he could hit it, he recovered, spinning around he pushed off the wall with enough force to crack it. Pulling his arm back Isamu was ready to punch Kagaya but at the last second she dodged out of the way. The two then went back to hitting and blocking each other, before long the two kicked each other away. They landed on either side of the arena, bruises and cuts were seen across both of their bodies. Kagaya smiled, you've gotten stronger since the last time we fought Isamu. Same goes for you, Uncle Bakugo and Auntie Hamari must be training you hard, said Isamu, wiping the blood off of his lip. Yeah they do, Dad teaches me hand-to-hand combat and Mom teaches me this. Kagaya then raised her arm and pointed it right at Isamu. As she did a large green ball of energy began to build. Isamu's eyes widened, hey, that much power is dangerous, are you sure you can control that much? Kagaya smiled, of course, well I never really controlled it properly but I was good enough. That's not good, Kagaya stop. Yelled out Isamu. If you want to stop me then use your own attack. Said Kagaya as the ball of energy grew. Oh you have to be kidding me. Isamu then cupped his hands together, Kami-Hami, a blue, silver ball of light began to form in Isamu's hands. Eraser cannon. Yelled out Kagaya as she fired the green blast of energy. Ha! Yelled out Isamu as he fired the Kamehameha. Ochako who was downstairs was surprised when she sensed the two beams of energy, not again. As the two beams of energy were about to crash into each other they both noticed that neither of them could properly control the output and saw that if they crashed they would blow up the house. They quickly redirected the blasts upward and through the roof of the house. The room was filled with smoke as they saw the two holes in the roof, maybe we shouldn't use blasts, said Isamu. Kagaya laughed, maybe you're right, we aren't ready for that yet. So back to fists. Isamu nodded, yeah, let's go. The two then ran at each other and began to go back and forth. Kagaya seemed to have the upper hand for now. Isamu was quickly finding it hard to read her movements, he needed to find an opening. When all of a sudden he found it, ducking under one of her punches Isamu got behind Kagaya and put her in a master lock submission hold. Kagaya tried to free herself by flailing around but found that she couldn't break free. Give it up Kagaya, you won't be able to break free, said Isamu, holding her tight. The two fell to the floor, Kagaya gritted her teeth, damn you Isamu. That's when she smirked, but I have other ways of breaking free. Isamu raised an eyebrow, what are you? But before he could do anything else Kagaya looked back at him with puppy dog eyes. Please Isamu let me go, you're hurting me. Be more gentle with me, Kagaya's voice was soft and tender. This caused Isamu to blush and in turn loosen his grip on Kagaya. Feeling his grip slip Kagaya leaned forward and flipped Isamu on his back. She then got on top of him and raised her fist, bringing it down right at Isamu's face, but stopping just short. Isamu looked up to see Kagaya with a smirk on her face, looks like I win. Seems that way, now do you mind getting off of me? This is embarrassing, Isamu said looking away. Why? Why are you embarrassed? Asked Kagaya. Isamu said nothing, come on say it, why are you embarrassed? Isamu continued to stay silent, alright, if you won't talk, I'll just have to force you. Kagaya then proceeded to tickle Isamu's stop. Isamu yelled out while laughing. Not until you tell me. Kagaya said as she tortured poor Isamu. That's when a voice was heard coming from the entrance, alright you two break it up. The two turned to find Izuku, Ochako, Bakugo, and Himari standing there. Mom, Dad, they both yelled out. They both quickly ran towards their parents. Izuku picked up Isamu, how long were you guys standing there? Long enough to see the end of your fight, said Himari. Yeah, it was a good fight. Too bad it ended in a tie, said Izuku. Himari turned to Izuku, huh? A tie, that was no tie. Kagaya clearly won. Yeah right, she used cheap tricks. Did you teach her that? Asked Izuku. Duh, you have to do whatever it takes to win a fight. Said Himari. Always up to your tricks Himari, that's why you can never beat me in a fight, said Izuku with a smug look on his face. Himari flinched, what was that? Are you trying to pick a fight, cause I'm ready to go whenever you are. Himari then transformed into a Super Saiyan. Ochako, take Isamu, this won't take long. Izuku then handed Isamu to Ochako and transformed into a Super Saiyan. The two then flew upwards and through the roof. Ochako and Bakugo looked up to see shockwaves fill the air. There they go again. Ochako sighed, guess training is cancelled today, go get changed you two, we'll order some pizza or something later. The two kids went to go get changed, after that their parents stayed to talk about hero work. It was now night time, this meant it was time for pizza. Thanks to their appetites Izuku made sure to order enough, they didn't want another incident. The two families were enjoying the meal, so Izuku, you think our kids are ready to move up a level? Asked Himari. Isamu and Kagaya looked up at Himari, what? Move up a level. What does that mean? Asked Kagaya while stuffing her face with pizza. Izuku thought about it, maybe, I still think they are a bit young for it though. Young? Have you seen how strong they are? They are even stronger than me when I was their age, and I know they are a lot stronger than you at that age, said Himari. But you can't just activate that form, you have to unlock it. And we both know how your first time unlocking that form went. If not careful their powers could go haywire, said Izuku. What are you talking about? Asked Isamu. You know what they call your father right? Asked Ochako. Isamu nodded, Deku, the golden warrior right? Isn't that just his quirk, I shouldn't have that. Actually you two should be able to do the same thing. It's called Super Saiyan, and it's not a quirk, it's heritage, said Bakugo. So we both can have that shiny golden hair? Asked Kagaya excitedly. Izuku nodded, yup, you two will be just like me and Himari. Kagaya was excited but Isamu on the other hand was less than enthusiastic. This was just another thing he had to live up to, that he felt that he had to become in order to be the son of Izuku. And so it was, Isamu and Kagaya were going to start their training to become Super Saiyans. First things first though they needed a safe place to train, and where else than Ua. It was the weekend and the two kids were taken to Ua, and thanks to the principal, who was now Aizawa of all people, they were allowed to use one of the facilities. Izuku and Himari would be the ones to teach them, alright you two, first thing you have to understand is that your power is directly related to your emotions. For me, it took me thinking that Ochako died to turn Super Saiyan, explained Izuku. For me it took Izuku to piss me off enough before I snapped, said Himari standing next to Izuku in her Saiyan armor. The two kids looked at each other, but we haven't gone through anything like that, said Kagaya. How are we meant to go Super Saiyan then? Izuku and Himari looked at each other, that's actually a good point, said Himari. Maybe we should just focus on proper ki control. I felt the way you two expelled out your ki the other day, and it wasn't pretty, said Izuku. Himari nodded, fair enough let's do that. Time for some old-fashioned sparring. The Saiyans then began to spar, Izuku would spar with Isamu and Himari with Kagaya. Come on brat. You can do better than that, said Himari as she dodged all of Kagaya's attacks. Kagaya gritted her teeth, I'll hit you eventually. Himari smirked, not with that weak power, you'll never be able to hit me. This started to frustrate Kagaya who began to attack faster. Himari saw this and without warning she hit Kagaya in the back causing her to hit the floor. See, I told you, weak. Kagaya got to her knees, I'm not weak. I'm not. Then get up and prove me wrong, or is this training too much for you? Questioned Himari. Kagaya turned around and glared at her mother, oh, what's this? Is the weak girl getting mad? Said Himari, antagonizing her daughter. Kagaya looked down at the ground, dropping her arms she clenched her fists. I am not weak. Both Isamu and Izuku stopped their sparring when they sensed Kagaya's ki spike. Isamu, look, you are about to bear witness the birth of a Super Saiyan. Isamu looked at Kagaya and saw her hair turn golden yellow for a second. That's when the aura around her also turned golden yellow, then came the sudden gust of wind that pushed Isamu back a few feet. Shielding his face Isamu watched as Kagaya's hair began to rapidly flicker, then in one final push Kagaya let out a mighty yell. The entire training room was bathed in golden light, Isamu couldn't see a thing but after a few seconds his eyes adapted. And what he saw amazed him, standing there was Kagaya with spiky short, golden hair and teal-colored eyes. Himari had the biggest smile, yes. There it is. Kagaya look, you're a Super Saiyan. Kagaya looked down at her hands, this power, is it really my own? Himari ran up to her daughter and hugged her, of course, this is your power. And no one will call you weak again. Kagaya broke the hug and ran towards Isamu, look Isamu, I turned into a Super Saiyan. How do I look? Isamu was still in shock but uttered a single word, beautiful. This caused Kagaya to blush, why you should hurry up and turn Super Saiyan too. The group spent the rest of the day training but by the end of it only Kagaya was able to become a Super Saiyan. It had now been 2 weeks since Kagaya turned Super Saiyan and Isamu still couldn't do it and he was starting to get frustrated. Isamu was getting out of school when he decided to go for a walk down by the sea. He walked and walked just thinking about what he was doing wrong, if I can't transform what will dad think of me? What will mom think of me? He sighed as he continued to walk, after a while he found a mochi stand and bought some. He was sitting down on a bench when someone touched his shoulder. Looking back he found Kagaya, found you Isamu, I've been looking all over for you. Isamu had a piece of mochi in his mouth, Kagaya. She reached out and plucked the mochi out of his mouth and ate it, hey that was mine. Thanks for that, anyway, why are you over here? Asked Kagaya sitting beside him. I was thinking that's all, said Isamu, reaching for another piece of mochi. You're thinking about how you can't transform right? Asked Kagaya. Isamu stayed silent. I knew it, Isamu you just have to let it happen, you heard what our parents said. I'm sure you'll be able to do it soon. Isamu scoffed, yeah sure, easy for you to say, you already can go Super Saiyan. Look, going Super Saiyan isn't that big of a deal though, that's when Isamu stood up. Don't patronize me Kagaya, just leave me alone. Kagaya reached out but stopped herself. Why are you being mean about this? Jerk, I was just trying to help you, fine whatever, getting up, Kagaya swiped the remaining of Isamu's mochi. I'll see you later. Isamu watched as Kagaya walked away and into the crowd of people who were walking around. Kagaya had an angry expression on her face as she walked through the crowd eating the mochi. Idiot I didn't mean it that way, stupid Isamu, just you wait, I'll make you sorry for making me mad. That's when someone bumped into Kagaya causing her to spill the mochi, hey what the heck. She looked up to see several people running in her direction. What's going on? She flew up to see a wave of people running and screaming away from the direction of a tall man with blonde hair, also both of his arms were just made of pure muscle, no bones, no fat, just pure muscle almost as if he was missing them. Who is that? Down on the ground the man was destroying cars, carts, and tables, man this feels good. It's been so long since I just let loose. The local heroes and police began to show up, hey that's Muscular from the League of Villains. I thought he was in jail. Asked an officer. He was, but when they were transporting him a week ago he managed to escape, yelled out a hero. He's a class A villain so watch out he's dangerous. That's when the heroes began to move in to take Muscular down, oh no you don't, I'm not going down that easily. I've had time to train myself and my quirk, and I'm a lot stronger than I was back then. Just then muscle fibers began to appear around his body, covering the top half completely. The cops began to open fire but the bullets just bounced right off and hit the ground. The heroes tried to take him down with their quirks but none had the firepower to take him down. Muscular was wrecking the heroes, throwing them aside like they were nothing. In one instance he threw a hero into a building. The officers tried to call for backup with the radio in their car only to have Muscular lift the car up like it was nothing and toss it into the sky. The officer fell to the ground, that's when Muscular stopped in front of him, man getting used to these new arms wasn't easy, but after so many years I can now get my revenge. If I kill enough of you then I'm sure that he'll show up. Muscular raised his fists and brought it down right on the officer. A loud boom was heard, Muscular had a smile on his face but it quickly faded when he saw someone had blocked his attack. Huh, who the hell are you? Kagaya smiled as she held back Muscular's fist, your worst nightmare. Letting out her aura, Kagaya pushed Muscular away. Muscular slid to a stop several feet away, a little young to be a hero, aren't you? I'm not a hero, but my parents are. But that doesn't matter now, I'm going to take you down myself. Kagaya yelled out, flying at Muscular. Pulling back her fist, Kagaya landed a hard hit to Muscular's stomach. The resulting shock wave was enough to push the officers back down to the ground. However, before Kagaya could do anything else, a massive fist came in and hit her across the face, which sent her flying towards the railing. A loud thud was heard as Kagaya hit the railing, bending it. She looked up to see Muscular still standing. Not a bad hit, but that was nothing. Kagaya whipped the blood from her lip. Alright then, how about this? Ha! The aura around Kagaya suddenly turned golden yellow, and with one final push her hair and eyes changed color. Muscular's eyes widened as he recognized those eyes, those eyes. I remember those eyes, you must be related to him, aren't you? Asked Muscular. Kagaya was confused, what are you talking about? Muscular laughed, good, this is good. If I can take you down, then that will cause him a hell of a lot more pain. Come then, little girl, I'll beat you down myself. Kagaya smirked, let's see if you can. The two then ran at each other, throwing their fists forward. The two clashed, causing a shockwave. Muscular smiled, not bad kid, you're strong, I'll give you that, but you're nothing compared to me. With his other arm, Muscular threw a punch only to have it blocked by Kagaya. Seeing her chance, Kagaya jumped up and back-flipped, kicking Muscular underneath the chin. She landed on her feet and jumped towards him again with a hard punch to the body. Muscular staggered back but kept himself up. Raising his fist, he slammed the ground with so much force that he broke it into pieces. Kagaya luckily jumped into the air in time, but that's when she felt someone grab her leg. She was then violently thrown to the ground, only to have a massive foot stomp on her. I don't know where you came from, girl, but you will die here and now. Just then a massive fist came in and hit her square in the face. Kagaya yelled out in pain as blood ran down her nose, however she wouldn't go down without a fight. Raising her hand, Kagaya fired a blast of energy which hit Muscular, causing a massive explosion. As the fireball dissipated, Kagaya managed to get up with cuts and bruises all over her body. Man, that guy was tough. At least it's over now. However, she spoke too soon, when from the smoke a large outline of a man appeared. You thought you had me beat? Asked Muscular, appearing from the smoke, the muscle fibers on his body torn and burned. Think again. That's when Kagaya saw the muscle fibers regenerate and reattach themselves again. Kagaya smiled, good, I would hate it if this fight ended too soon. Putting out her hands in front of her, a ball of energy began to appear in her hands. Let's see if you can take this. Planetary Devisit. However, before Kagaya could fire, the aura around her suddenly disappeared. Falling to her knees, her breathing was heavy. What's going on? She asked herself as she lost her blonde hair, reverting back to its normal color. That's when Muscular walked towards her. Seems like you are all out of energy, girl. Kagaya slowly looked up to see Muscular towering over her. Any last words? Kagaya smiled. Yeah, what took you so long? That confused Muscular. What are you? That's when someone came in and kicked him right across the face. Landing in front of Kagaya was Isamu. Sorry about that, Kagaya, I was flying home when I sensed your power. Kagaya shook her head. Don't worry about it. I should have listened to Mom. Super Saiyan really does drain your power faster. That's why you should pay attention. Anyway, stay put, I'll do something about him, said Isamu, glaring at Muscular. That's when Muscular recognized him. You have his face, you're that brat's son, aren't you? The one who cut off my arms. Whoa, Dad did that. You must have done something to really piss him off. Sorry about your arms, but hey, at least you aren't dead, said Isamu. That only served to piss him off. So you're his son, guess I have to take out my anger on you then. Go ahead, transform like she did. Isamu went into his battle stance. I can't, I don't know how to. Muscular smiled. Then this will be a lot easier than I thought. In the blink of an eye, Muscular launched himself at Isamu. With barely enough time to react, Isamu moved his head back, causing Muscular's giant fist to just barely miss him. However, Isamu did not expect the next hit to come from the other side. With a loud thum, Isamu was hit in the stomach, causing him to spit out blood. Isamu! Yelled out Kagaya as she watched him slide to a stop. Isamu slowly got back up. Man, he hits hard. He has power and speed, but he doesn't seem to have the brain. That's it. Taking off, Isamu began to fly around Muscular, and with every turn he gained speed. Soon Isamu was moving so fast that a small tornado formed around Muscular. What's this supposed to do? Asked Muscular. That's when from within the windstorm Isamu came in and punched Muscular in the face. Gritting his teeth, Muscular swung his fist, only to have Isamu reappear on the other side to hit him. Isamu would repeatedly appear in random locations to deal damage on Muscular. Go Isamu! Yelled out Kagaya from outside the tornado. The bombardment was so intense that Muscular actually fell to his knees. Why you little? Muscular knew if he wanted any chance of winning he needed a way to stop Isamu. Screw this. Reaching out, Muscular stuck his hand into the windstorm. While inside the windstorm, Isamu was only focusing on Muscular, he wasn't paying attention to what was in front of him. So when Muscular's hand appeared, he didn't even see it. Feeling that he got him, Muscular grabbed Isamu by the neck. Got you. With all of his strength, Muscular pulled out his hand and slammed Isamu to the floor, cracking it. Isamu yelled out in pain as his head hit the concrete floor. Smart move, but you're still way too young to stand up to me. That's when Isamu noticed Muscular's hand was ripped to shreds from the wind. The tornado around them died down and Kagaya could see what had happened. Oh no, Isamu. She tried to force herself up but her legs wouldn't move. Come on, move, damn it. Back with Isamu, Muscular was squeezing down on his neck, cutting off the airflow. Isamu tried to raise his hand to fire off a blast, but Muscular slammed his head into the concrete over and over again until he lowered it. You know what, killing you now would be too easy. I'm going to make this hurt even more. Muscular let go of Isamu, but he wasn't going to just let him off. No, he was going to torture Isamu. This is for my arm. Bringing down his fist, Muscular punched Isamu in the face. This one is for all the pain he caused me. With a loud boom, Muscular connected with another punch to Isamu's face, breaking his nose. Isamu could barely see anything thanks to the blood running down his face, and this is for the years I spent in prison. Muscular raised his fist up high and with a powerful yell he brought them down right on Isamu's stomach. Kagaya watched as Isamu's hand hit the ground motionless. And no, she was then even more surprised to see Isamu grab Muscular by the wrist. Oh, still alive, I thought for sure I killed you by now. Oh well, I just get to enjoy this more. Just as Muscular was about to hit Isamu again, he was hit by a blast of energy in the back. The blast burned him. Turning around, he found Kagaya was the one who fired it. Leave him alone. Muscular's angry expression soon turned to one of joy when he noticed he could do something. That girl is your friend, isn't she? So you must really care for her. I wonder what would you do if something terrible were to happen to her. Kagaya's face turned to despair. Isamu couldn't believe what he just heard. And no, not her. Muscular got up. Too late. Walking over to Kagaya, he made sure Isamu could see what he was about to do. In her weakened state, Kagaya didn't even see it coming, but she felt it. In that split second, Muscular kneed Kagaya in the stomach, sending her crashing into a wall. Kagaya spit out blood as she hit the wall. Isamu's eyes widened. Kagaya. I need to save her. I need to save her. Just then Isamu's eyes flickered teal. Muscular walked over and grabbed Kagaya by the hair, causing her to yell out in pain. Once I'm done with you, I'll deal with the other brat. When that's done, I'll go find the man responsible for making me into this. Muscular pulled back his fist ready to end Kagaya when all of a sudden a shock wave knocked him off his balance. What the? Looking back, Muscular saw a pillar of golden energy shoot into the sky. He then saw the outline of a small child. No, that's impossible, you shouldn't have the strength to move. That's when suddenly Muscular felt something pass him. Looking at his hand, he noticed Kagaya was gone. Where did the kid go? Turning around, he saw Isamu holding Kagaya. Standing before him was Isamu with spiky golden yellow hair and teal-colored eyes. Isamu had just turned into a Super Saiyan. Isamu. Isamu looked down as his aura surrounded him like a flame. You alright? Kagaya nodded. Good, stay here and rest. I'll finish this. Isamu gently put Kagaya down and walked towards Muscular. With every step he took, the air around Isamu began to steam from the energy he was putting out. Seeing this, Muscular took a step back in fear. You have the same look on your face as your father did all those years ago. You really are his son. Isamu said nothing as he stopped several meters away. This fight is over. You think so? We'll just have to see about that. Muscular yelled out as he ran towards Isamu, ready to end this. However, Isamu wasn't playing games. This was apparent when he cupped his hands together. Kamehameha. Ha! From his hands a blue energy beam shot out. Muscular didn't have time to react. The beam hit dead on, completely covering him in it. Only the screams of Muscular were heard as he was being pushed by the blast towards the sea. Letting the blast disappear, Isamu looked back at Kagaya and smiled. Looks like I got him. Kagaya smiled back. You sure did. Isamu was helping Kagaya to her feet when from out of nowhere 4 people touched down. The kids looked up to see their parents. Mom. Dad. Their parents ran over to them and hugged them. Thank goodness you're safe. We thought something terrible happened when we felt Kagaya's energy drop suddenly. We got even more concerned when Isamu's energy spiked up, said Ochako, hugging her child. It's a long story, said Isamu. The parents looked at the destruction around them. I think we got time. After explaining the situation to the police and local heroes, Isamu and Kagaya were given a warning. However, Izuku and Himari were told to pay for the damages, which they agreed. For now though, the kids were taken to get their wounds healed. Now back at Izuku's home, the two families sat down to talk. So it seems like the both of you can now turn Super Saiyan, said Bakugo. The two kids nodded. Yeah. So let's get things straight here. You two didn't come straight home, got into a fight with a villain, used your powers, and caused damage to the area. Is that right? Asked Himari. Again the two kids nodded. We're sorry. The two families looked at each other and laughed. We aren't mad kids, we actually kind of expected this to happen, said Ochako. Really? Izuku nodded. Yeah, we are Saiyans after all. We are always getting into trouble, and don't get me started with all the damage we caused in the past. So we aren't in trouble? Asked Kagaya. Oh, you two are still in trouble, but your punishment will be more training. You two have to learn how to control that power of yours or else it could mean disaster, said Ochako. We understand, said the two kids. Good, now get out of here, as adults are going to have a talk now, said Himari. The two kids got up and walked into the backyard. Now that they were gone, Himari turned to Izuku. What the hell was that power, Izuku? Izuku shrugged, I don't know. We're lucky Isamu didn't kill Muscular. His power was even greater than my own when I first turned Super Saiyan. What about Kagaya? Yeah, she ran out of power, but the energy we felt was just as strong. Do Saiyans get stronger with every generation? Asked Bakugo. Don't know, could it be because they have human DNA? Or something else? Either way, we need to train them. With the amount of energy they gave off, they could seriously hurt someone or worse, said Izuku. Yeah, this isn't something we should take lightly. The kids are strong, no doubt about it, but they also have to keep a level head, said Ochako. Oh right, Izuku, there's something you should know about Isamu. Kagaya and Isamu were sitting outside, so what do you think they are talking about? Asked Kagaya. Isamu shrugged, don't know, maybe a way to increase our training. The two sat in silence for a while before Kagaya turned to Isamu. Hey, I just want to say thanks for saving me. And sorry that I took your mochi. Isamu looked at Kagaya, it's fine, and sorry I was being mean to you. I was just frustrated, that's all. It's cool, we were both a bit hot-headed. But really thank you, you saved me, said Kagaya. I'm sure you could have taken him down without my help, said Isamu. Well, we both know that's true. Next time I won't need your help, just you wait, I'll be stronger than you in no time. Said Kagaya. Isamu smiled, and I'll be right there with you. Kagaya. It's time to go home. Yelled out Bakugo. Kagaya got up, well I'll see you at school Isamu. Isamu also got up, see you later. Kagaya was walking away when she suddenly stopped and turned back. Isamu was surprised to see her walking towards him, what? Without saying a word, Kagaya leaned in and kissed Isamu on the cheek. Pulling away, Kagaya's face was red. That was for saving me, alright. So don't get the wrong idea, bye. Running inside, Kagaya saw her parents. Kagaya, your face is all red, what happened? Asked Bakugo. Nothing. Let's just go home. That's when Himari looked outside to find Isamu holding his cheek. Himari smiled at her daughter. Oh, I know what happened. Kagaya turned to her mother. Don't you dare. Isamu stood there stunned. It took a second, but once it registered what had happened, he too turned red. What just happened? That's when Izuku and Ochako walked towards Isamu. Your face is red too, Isamu, what happened? Asked Ochako. Isamu straightened up. Nothing. You say that, but Kagaya's face was also red. But if you don't want to talk, we won't force you, although I have a hunch what happened, said Ochako with a smirk on her face. Isamu chuckled. Look Isamu, we want to talk to you. He looked at his parents. We know you've been feeling down lately, we just want you to know that you shouldn't compare yourself to your father, said Ochako. I may be the strongest hero in the world, but I wasn't always like that. I had to train every day to reach the level 1 I'm at, and even now, there's a form I can't seem to master. Yes, it's true that you are my son, but you are also your own person. People will compare you to me and expect you to become me, but you don't have to. You become who you want to be, and any path you choose we will support, said Izuku. Isamu looked up to his father. Dad, he then hugged him. Thank you. Izuku smiled and hugged his son back. No problem. After a few seconds, the two released each other. Now there is one thing I want to know, said Ochako. Yeah, Mom. What did you and Kagaya do to cause each other's faces to turn red? Asked Ochako with a smirk on her face. Isamu blushed, thinking back to the kiss, as she kissed me on the cheek as a thank you for saving her. Ochako smiled. Ah, isn't that cute? Should we consider Kagaya your girlfriend now? Isamu stood up. Stop. We aren't like that. For now at least, but in the future you never know, said Izuku, much to Isamu's dismay. Isamu was embarrassed. Not you too, Dad. Hey, all I'm saying is that you never know, said Izuku. Isamu was about to walk away, but Ochako spoke up. Wait, there is one more thing we want you to know. Isamu turned to his parents. We know that you're strong, so we would like you to use your strength to protect your sibling. This confused Isamu. What? But I don't have a sibling. After a few seconds it suddenly hit him. Why, you mean it? Izuku and Ochako smiled. Yes, we mean it. So will you protect them? Isamu nodded. Yes, of course. I can't believe I'm going to be a big brother. All was well with Izuku's family. They were healthy, safe, happy, and growing. There was nothing else he needed, but he would soon find out that for even as strong as he was not in control. Zeno's palace. Lord Zeno sat on his throne, bored out of his mind. There's nothing to do. That's when the Grand Priest appeared. You already played with the solar system, did you not? Maybe it's time for some new entertainment. That's when Zeno got an idea. Oh, I know, we can have another tournament of power. The Grand Priest smiled. That is a wonderful idea. Should we have the same rules as the last one? Zeno thought about. No, this time we are going to change things. That way it won't be as boring. The Grand Priest bowed. Very well, Your Majesty, I will inform the gods of destruction of your proclamation. Zeno waved his hands in the air. Yay. Another tournament of power, this is going to be amazing. And, Boom. Both Kagaya and Isamu are now Super Saiyans. But that's not the only thing. Yes, if you didn't get it, but yes, there will be a tournament of power kind of thing coming. When is another story? I want to take it either one long chapter or break it up into several. Let me know what you guys want. Anyway, stay safe everyone. Elimination. It had been a few days since Isamu and Kagaya turned Super Saiyan, and right now it was time for their parents to train. Standing on a familiar island, Ochako along with Bakugo stared off into the ocean as their children played on the beach. Do you think today is the day? Asked Ochako. Bakugo thought about it. It could be. Himari has been training hard. I can tell she's gotten stronger, but enough to match Izuku. I don't think so, said Ochako. We'll see right now. They should be coming into view right about. Suddenly the sky was filled with the sound of sonic booms. Now. Out in the ocean, Izuku and Himari were sparring. They both transformed, blue for Izuku and SSJ2 for Himari. The sonic booms were the result of their fists coming in contact with each other. Looks like I'm going to win today, said Himari, rushing Izuku. Izuku blocked her attack and countered with a kick to her ribs. Yeah right, dream on. Himari was sent flying back. Composing herself, she then flew straight at Izuku. Izuku did the same. Their fists met in the middle, causing a massive shock wave. On the island, Ochako and Bakugo almost lost their balance as a result. Man, they are really going at it, huh? So it seems, but I think it's time for Izuku to show Himari what he's been training for. Hey Izuku. Do the thing, yelled out Ochako. Izuku looked down and smiled. Alright. Falling back, Izuku floated in mid-air and clenched his fists. Ha! Suddenly Izuku's blue aura flared out as he began to power up. Himari shielded her eyes as the pressure Izuku was giving off was intense. Whoa, where did this come from? Asked Himari as she saw a faint red glow around Izuku's blue aura. On the island, Isamu and Kagaya watched as the area around them was lit up in a bright blue color. Looks like Dad is getting serious now, said Isamu. Looks like it, but what's that red glow around him? Asked Kagaya. What the hell is he doing? Is he trying to blow us away? Said Bakugo as he struggled against the wind. Ochako simply smiled. Here it comes. Izuku then let his aura completely disappear. What the heck was the point of that? All you did was give us a light show, said Himari, disappointed. Izuku smiled. Kaioken. Suddenly Izuku's blue aura flared out, but what surprised Himari the most was that atop the blue aura was the red glow of the Kaioken. Himari's eyes widened. This power. It's extraordinary. Let's finish this, Himari, said Izuku, ready to end this. However, before he could even move, Himari powered down. Yeah, let's not. I don't want to die. Plus, I think our little sparring match got a bit out of control. Himari motioned down towards the island. Looking down, Izuku found that the entire roof on the house was blown away. Oh no. Came house. Izuku quickly powered down. I think you're right. I would rather not destroy the entire island. Let's go down to eat. I'm starving. The two Saiyans went down to get some food. So Izuku, tell me, I know you can use Kaioken for a multiple power boost. Why didn't you do that earlier? Asked Bakugo. Izuku took a bite out of his food. It's cause Kaioken puts a huge burden on my body. Normally I would be able to go X5 or X10, but not with blue. It's too much power, and if I use it for too long my body will give out on me. Since when can you even do that? Asked Himari. Just now, said Izuku. I never actually successfully pulled it off. The other times my body couldn't keep up. So you're telling me your body could have been ripped to shreds and you still did it anyway? What the hell, Izuku? Said Himari, scolding Izuku. Izuku flinched. I know, but nothing went wrong, so that's a good thing. That's when Ochako reached out and pinched his cheek. No, it's not. You need to be more careful. I won't stop you from training and fighting, but you need to rest once in a while. That's the whole point why we are here. You two wouldn't stop fighting, so we took a trip. And the first thing you two do is spar. Like, come on, relax for a bit. Said Bakugo, grabbing a drink. Well, I need to catch up to Izuku. I can't always be second fiddle to him. Said Himari. Don't feel so bad, Himari. You're a heck of a lot stronger. You perfectly have your berserker rage in control. If you go Super Saiyan 3, I may not stand a chance. Said Izuku. Thanks, Izuku, but even if I did, you still have that ultra instinct mode of yours. Which reminds me, any luck unlocking it again? Asked Himari. Izuku shook his head. No, not yet. But I can feel it. It's stuck behind some sort of wall. All I have to do is break it and I should be able to fully master it. Do Saiyans not have limits? Asked Ochako. Apparently not. If they lack something, they just make it up with power. Said Bakugo. So are you guys ready for tomorrow? Right, we are meeting up with everyone tomorrow at UA for the anniversary of All Might's death. Said Izuku. We'll be there. I heard Mirio will be there too. Said Ochako. Really? I thought he was still in the States. Guess he decided to come back, said Izuku. Well, we have to get there early, so might as well head back home now. Mind giving us a lift, Izuku? Asked Himari, getting up from her seat. No problem, alright kids. It's time to head back. Said Izuku, calling to Isamu and Kagaya. The kids came running up to their parents. Do we have to leave? It's really nice here, said Kagaya, not wanting to leave. Sorry kids, but I promise we'll come back soon, said Ochako. The kids both had a look of disappointment. Come on, you two, you know you can't play forever. Besides, we have a big day tomorrow, said Bakugo. The kids nodded. Good, now grab on, we are out of here. That's when everyone began to grab onto Izuku, placing 2 fingers on his forehead. They teleported out with a thwip. The next day. It was early in the morning when Izuku and Ochako both woke up, took a shower, and got on their hero costumes. Today was the day they would honor All Might's memory. Izuku woke up Isamu, and after they ate breakfast the family all flew towards Ua. The cold spring air hit their faces and they flew across the sky. After a few minutes they landed on the courtyard, where they saw Bakugo, Himari, and Kagaya were already there. Himari had on her Saiyan armor, while Bakugo had on his costume. You're late, said Bakugo. We would have gotten here sooner but Ochako wasn't feeling well, said Izuku. Himari smirked. What, are you pregnant again? Ochako blushed. Why yes. Himari blinked twice. I'm sorry, what? She's pregnant, repeated Izuku. Like for real? Asked Himari, still not believing it. Ochako nodded. Yes. We found out not too long ago and we had plans to announce it today. Himari hugged Ochako. Congratulations. Bakugo walked over to Izuku and threw his arm over Izuku's shoulder. You dog, you were planning on keeping this secret from me, right? Izuku said nothing. Well, whatever, I'm happy for you. Thanks Kachan, now come on, the others are waiting on us. The two families then walked inside the gym. There they found all of the former Class 1A members and their kids. Look who finally decided to show up, said Shoto standing with Momo. Uncle Deku. That's when 2 small kids came out from behind them. Easy you two, you could get hurt, said Momo as Izuku reached down and grabbed them kids. Hey Yui, hey Akio. Are you two causing trouble for your mom and dad again? Asked Izuku looking at the twins. The twins shook their head. No. We are behaving, just like you said. Izuku smiled as he put the twins down. Good, now do you remember what I told you? The twins raised their right hands. We remember. Good, now go back with your parents. The twins turned and went back to Momo and Shoto. I still don't know what you told them Izuku, they won't tell us. Said Shoto, holding Yui. She had short black hair and dual-colored eyes. We even tried bribing them and it still wouldn't work, said Momo, holding Akio. He had dual-colored hair like his father, but had dark black eyes like Momo. And it's a secret we 3 will never reveal, said Izuku. That's when an earphone jack stabbed into Izuku's leg. He looked down only to be electrified by it. Hey Makoto, don't do that, said Jiro picking up her kid. Sorry about that Izuku. Izuku smiled. It's fine, Makoto is just messing around, aren't you? Makoto was the child of Jiro and Kaminari. She had yellow hair like her father but also had earphone jacks like her mother. The only difference being is that Makoto could channel electricity through them. Uncle Deku, do the thing. Hey now Makoto, you can't just ask him to do it, said Kaminari. It's fine you two really, but instead of me doing it, why don't we let Isamu and Kagaya show you? Said Izuku pointing at them. Do you guys mind playing with them for a bit? No problem. Come on Isamu. Kagaya then transformed into a Super Saiyan and grabbed Isamu by the hand. That's when everyone else's kids saw what she did and all ran towards them. Alright everyone get in line and head outside, you guys can use one of the gyms while we talk here, said Izuku ushering them out. Izuku watched as they ran across the building and into one of the gyms. He sighed and turned to everyone. Kids man, they wear you out. The strongest man on the planet gets tired over some kids. That doesn't sound right, said someone behind Izuku. Izuku turned around but was met by a fist to his face. Smash. The hit was enough to kick up some tables and chairs. After everything settled Izuku stood there holding back the fist with one finger. It's good to see you to Mirio. Mirio pulled back his fist. Strong as ever I see, how are you doing Izuku? Pretty good can't really complain. What about you, I heard you were overseas. Asked Izuku. I've been busy, you know the hero stuff and all, said Mirio. Izuku nodded. I get it, so are you ready for another match? Mirio put up his hands. I will pass, I don't feel like paying for another building. Besides, we all know you're the strongest. Second only to me, Himari said, jumping into the conversation. Right, let's not talk about that. We are here to celebrate All Might, now come on. Everyone is waiting, said Izuku. The celebration started off by Ua firing off several fireworks. Then came Izuku, he had the job of lighting up the sky like he did during All Might's funeral. He went through the different stages of Super Saiyan and lit up the sky in golden yellow. He then kicked it up to God, turning the sky red. Then came Blue, with a powerful yell Izuku's blue aura cut through the sky for all to see. After doing some boring stuff with the mayor of the city, everyone decided to go eat back at Ua. Aizawa being the principal now set up a banquet for them. Everyone was outside enjoying themselves, when all of a sudden Izuku, Ochako, and Isamu walked up to a small stage. Can I have everyone's attention for just a second, we have an announcement to make, said Izuku through the mic. Everyone settled down. Good, so as you know life is precious. And we as heroes are sworn to protect it no matter the cost. But we also protect the ones we love the most, be it family or friends. If we didn't have these things then our hero work would be. However, before he could finish, Ochako rolled her eyes and grabbed the mic. What Izuku is trying to say is that we have a new addition to the family coming. Everyone looked at each other. Then it finally clicked. Mina got up from her seat and slammed the table. You're having another baby. Ochako nodded. Yeah. The girls immediately ran up on the stage and hugged Ochako, congratulating her. The guys walked up to Izuku and congratulated him as well. So Isamu, are you excited to be a big brother? Asked Kaminari. Isamu nodded. Yup. I'm going to make sure nothing happens to mom or the baby. Izuku roughed up Isamu's hair. That's my boy. However, the celebration was cut short when Izuku, Himari, Bakugo, and Ochako all sensed something approaching the planet. The four looked to the sky. Ochako then turned to her husband, Izuku. Mirio, get the kids to the bunker now. Ordered Izuku. With red lightning crackling around him, Mirio used his super speed to quickly grab all the kids with Black Whip. He then returned seconds later. Kids are secure in the bunker, what are we dealing with? Asked Mirio. A god, answered Izuku. Just then the entire sky was filled with a massive purple haze. Izuku immediately turned into a Super Saiyan Blue. Himari joined in and turned into a Super Saiyan 2. The two then flew high into the sky. What the hell is he trying to pull? Asked Himari. I don't know, but I warned him last time to leave us alone, guess he didn't listen. Said Izuku. I'll stop it, when I do blast it with everything you got. Himari nodded, let's do this. Taking off into the outer atmosphere, Izuku took a deep breath and held out his arms. Focusing his ki to his hands, they began to glow bright blue. Ha! That's when the ball of destruction made contact with Izuku's hands. The upper half of Izuku's body was bent back as he tried to hold it back. But just then the Hakai stopped falling, and Izuku began to push it back. His voice strained, Himari, do it now. A bit lower, Himari was gathering the ki she needed, planetary devastation. The green beam of energy smashed into the Hakai and began to push it slightly. That's when Izuku helped out. With his hands still on the Hakai, he yelled out. Ka, me, ha, me, ha. That's when a silver blue light erupted from his hands and helped Himari's blast push the Hakai even further. Now a good distance away, the two blasts then suddenly pierced the Hakai, causing it to disperse in a purple rain of ki. Izuku and Himari floated there and looked at the flakes of purple. So do you want to tell me what that was about? Lord Beerus. Looking above him, Izuku saw Beerus and Whis. It's been a long time, Izuku. I have something very important to tell you. But I think it's better if we talk down on Earth. Said Lord Beerus. Izuku looked over at Himari, who nodded. Alright then, but try anything and I'll make sure our fight won't get interrupted like last time. The four then flew down toward Ua where everyone stood waiting. Izuku, what was that all about? Asked Ochako. Izuku touched down on the stage. I don't know, so explain yourself, Lord Beerus. Beerus and Whis landed on the stage, causing Ochako to flinch. I do suppose I owe you that. Let's just cut to the chase, shall we? What you saw was something like a test. A test? What for? Asked Bakugo. To see if you were still strong. Time can make even the best of us soft. Explained Beerus. But it seems like it hasn't for the two of you. Thanks. So keep going. Said Izuku. Right, how should I put this? Beerus thought about it and scratched his head. Basically this universe is being erased. Everyone who was outside just had their jaws hit the floor. Izuku's eyes widened. What do you mean erased? That's when Whis stepped forward. Terrible phrasing, Lord Beerus, let me handle this. You see, Lord Zeno has proclaimed that he will be holding another tournament of power. And if the rules are anything like last time, the eliminated universes will be wiped from existence. Lord Zeno, but why? Asked Izuku. Apparently he was bored and needed something to entertain himself. Explained Whis. So if it's anything like last time, we need 10 fighters from this universe to participate. Said Beerus. So when exactly does this tournament start? Asked Todoroki. We don't know, it could be in a few hours, days, or even months. The Grand Priest has yet to announce the day and time. Explained Whis. However, in that exact moment a purple portal opened up above the group and out flew the Grand Priest. Beerus immediately fell to the floor, while Izuku bowed slightly. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring news. Everyone looked up at the Grand Priest. It is by Lord Zeno's proclamation that another tournament of power will be held. The tournament will be held in 1 Earth week. You are to gather 5 fighters from your universe and prepare to fight. Beerus's ear twitched. Only 5. Grand Priest, if I may, why is it only 5 fighters? Asked Whis. Lord Zeno wishes to see less fights this time around. Last time there were dozens of fights going on at the same time. This time things will be more controlled. Explained the Grand Priest, to which Whis nodded. The tournament itself will last no more than 45 Earth minutes. And the winner shall be decided by whichever universe has the most fighters standing. But there's a twist this time around. Killing was not allowed last time. However, this time around, killing will be allowed. Said the Grand Priest looking down at Izuku. You mean we could die during this thing? What kind of bullshit is that? Yelled out Bakugo. The Grand Priest simply shrugged. As I was saying, killing will be allowed. But we will be keeping the rule of knocking your opponents out of the ring. And for one final thing, the universes that get eliminated will be destroyed. Right, I almost forgot. All restrictions on angels and destroyers are lifted for 1 week. Everyone in the crowd began to mutter. Beerus's eyes went wide. That means. That is all. If any changes are made to the rules, they will be announced when you arrive at the fighting arena. Farewell and good luck. With that, the Grand Priest disappeared through his portal. Beerus got up. Well, that's just great. Well, at least we have a week to prepare. Whis, how do we compare to the other universes? Asked Izuku. Whis hummed. I'd say the odds are stacked against you. We have one of the lowest mortal levels of all the universes. But we have been there before, so you never know. That's not very reassuring, said Himari. Regardless, we need to find 5 strong people. You two are obviously and so pick the other 3. Said Beerus pointing at Izuku and Himari. Izuku and Himari looked at each other. I guess the next logical choice is Mirio. He's got to be the 3rd strongest on the planet, said Izuku, turning to the number 3 hero. I know this is a lot to take in, but are you willing to help us? Asked Izuku. Mirio thought about it for a second before nodding. Of course. If it means there is a chance we save everyone, then I'm all for it. However, that's when Himari stepped up. This won't be like your average villain fight, Mirio. You heard the rules, this will most likely be a battle to the death. Me and Izuku have already killed before, but you haven't. Are you willing to kill in order to win? Mirio's eyes went wide. I don't know. To tell you the truth, I don't want to kill anyone. Himari nodded and looked away. Then I guess we need to find. But, Himari turned back to Mirio. I will defeat anyone who gets in my way without killing them, that I swear. Himari was about to say something, but Izuku stopped her. Alright, Mirio, you have your morals and we'll respect that. But if it comes down to it, let us handle it. That still leaves 2 more fighters, said Himari. I think the next one should be Katsuki. He is the next strongest thanks to his key training. I agree, so what do you say, Bakugo? Ready to kick some ass? Asked Izuku. Bakugo smiled. Always. You guys can count on me. That just leaves 1 more fighter. Ochako would be the next logical choice. Izuku turned to his wife. You up for it? Ochako thought about it and nervously looked away. And no, sorry. As much as I want to, this time around I'm not going to risk something happening to the baby. We got lucky last time, but this time we might not be, sorry. Izuku walked over to his wife, grabbing her hand. Don't apologize, I understand your reasoning and I'm sure the others do too. Ochako looked up at Izuku and smiled. Thank you, Izuku, I love you. Izuku leaned in and kissed Ochako on the cheek. I love you too. But that still leaves us with 1 more spot. Who is going to take that spot? Asked Bakugo. I don't know, no offense guys, but the rest of you aren't as strong as us, said Himari. Class 1A couldn't argue with that, they were nowhere near their power level. Izuku turned to Whis and Beerus. Is there another fighter in this universe that is just as or stronger than us? Whis shook his head. No, apart from maybe me, you Izuku are the strongest in this universe. You are already stronger than Lord Beerus here, and with the proper training you could become even stronger than me. You're talking about Ultra Instinct, right? Whis nodded. Sorry, but I can't seem to go into the state. I've tried for years and nothing. Whis laughed. Your conventional training is not enough to break that barrier. But with the right guidance you can master it completely and become unstoppable. And thanks to the Grand Priest's announcement, we angels can now train you. Can you do it in 1 week's time? Asked Izuku. Yes and no, normally no, but you already have a place where we can get more training done in a short amount of time, do you not? Asked Whis. The hyperbolic time chamber, but it's broken. Shigaraki destroyed it, we can't use it, said Ochako. Whis laughed. That's where I come in. I can fix it, once I do we train. Izuku nodded. Let's do it. Himari, you should join us. Himari was about to agree when Beerus spoke. Sorry, but no, I've seen this once, potential and a different path suits her better. A different path? Which one would that be? Asked Himari. The path of destruction. Your raw power is astonishing and perfect for a destroyer. Let me train you to unlock your hidden potential and I swear that you could rival even the greatest. So what do you say? Asked Beerus. Himari looked at Bakugo who nodded. Let's do it, Lord Beerus. If I can become stronger then I am all for it. Good. At this rate I doubt we will need the 5th fighter, said Beerus. I still think we need another, but we can worry about that later, said Izuku. So Izuku, are you ready to head out? Asked Whis. Yeah, let me just get some stuff in order and I'll go. Meanwhile, feel free to stay and eat, we got plenty of food, said Izuku. It has been a while since we have eaten earth food. Very well. Lord Beerus, shall we eat? Asked Whis. I thought you'd never ask. Beerus immediately went over to the food and began to grab everything. As much as I will enjoy this, you two better come back soon. There is no time to waste. Izuku and Himari nodded. Right. Izuku then turned to his friends. Everyone keep everything you just heard a secret. If word got out then there would be panic in the streets. Everyone agreed. I guess we are calling this celebration for today. We'll come back when you guys win. said Todoroki. Izuku nodded, and after talking to Mirio for a bit he picked up Isamu, and with Ochako by his side they took off back home. Once there they found Eri, who was now a young woman and a pro-hero herself. Mom, Dad, you're home early. Yeah, we had to come home early, we had an unexpected visitor. Izuku said as he walked towards her. Was it a villain? Asked Eri. Not exactly, it was Lord Beerus, explained Izuku. Eri raised an eyebrow, that weird-looking cat thing from years ago. What did he want? Izuku and Ochako looked at each other. Hey Isamu, why don't you go upstairs and play? We need to have a talk. Isamu nodded and went upstairs to play. Now Eri was starting to get worried. After Isamu left, Eri turned to her parents. Alright, what's going on? We'll tell you, but you have to swear that you keep this between us. If this gets out, society could collapse. Eri sat down and nodded. Ochako explained everything about that happened today. By the end of it, Eri was in shock. I don't even know what to say, the whole universe will be erased if you lose. Yeah, no redoes no nothing. The stakes couldn't be higher, said Izuku. Well, at least Whis is going to train you. Don't lose, Dad, Eri said with a smile. I won't, Eri, I swear. With that, Izuku and Uraraka left for Ua once again. Eri was looking after Isamu in the meantime. Landing at Ua, Izuku noticed that Himari was already there wearing her Saiyan armor. Took you long enough. Yeah, you ready? Asked Izuku. Himari nodded. Yeah, I'll see you in 1 week's time. Are we ready? Asked Whis. Yes, responded Izuku. Very well, let's go. Izuku, Whis, and Ochako all flew towards the lookout. After a few seconds they landed on it. It's been a while since I've been here. Not after we restored it, said Ochako. In front of them was the now rebuilt mansion that once stood. The group walked inside and came upon an area that was marked off with caution tape. Well, here it is, Whis, you said you can fix it. Whis tapped his staff twice on the ground. Instantly a white pulse of energy radiated and instantly the broken room was repaired. There we are, the chamber is fully restored. Izuku and Ochako were in shock. What the hell? Shall we go in? Asked Whis, opening the door. Izuku nodded. Why yeah, well Ochako, I'll see you in 1 week time. Be careful, alright, said Ochako. When am I not? Don't worry, I promise you I'll be careful, said Izuku. The two then kissed. Ochako watched as Izuku walked into the chamber to begin his training. Meanwhile with Himari. Himari and Beerus were actually still at Ua, so are we going to start or what? Asked Himari. Beerus took another bite of his food. Do not rush me, woman, I am enjoying a meal right now. You don't seem so concerned about the tournament, do you honestly think we can win? Asked Himari. Beerus stopped eating. No. Himari's eyes widened. What? Then what the hell are we wasting time here, we need to train. You didn't let me finish, I was going to say no, not yet. Izuku has to learn to master Ultra Instinct, but if he can't you'll have to pick up his slack. And we'll do that by teaching you this. Beerus then opened the palm of his hand. Himari stared at what was in Beerus's hand. Do you think I can learn that? She questioned as a purple glow hit her face. Beerus smiled. Oh yeah. And chapter done. The tournament of power has been announced and will start in 1 week's time. The rules are basically the same, but killing is now allowed. If anyone has any extra rules that you'd like for me to add, make sure to comment. I will consider them and add one of them. Will Izuku master Ultra Instinct? What is Lord Beerus teaching Himari? And who will be the last fighter they add? Who would you guys pick? Your benefit. Day 1. Izuku stepped into the white room of the newly rebuilt hyperbolic time chamber. Alright Whis, so how do I master Ultra Instinct? Asked Izuku, tightening the sash around his waist. First you must access that form once again, but seeing as you haven't used it in some years it may be difficult to unlock it once again. Fortunately there is one way that can help you, explained Whis. Izuku nodded. Right, so how do we do it? Whis smiled. You must die. Izuku's face turned to one of disbelief. Huh. Well, you were on the verge of death when you first activated it, were you not? That is why you must relive those feelings. However, as you know, that feeling is also why one cannot master it, said Whis. The mind gets filled with too many emotions and the body cannot keep up. So that is where we will begin. For that we fight, but be warned, I will be coming at you with most of my power. Izuku swallowed a lump in his throat. Alright Whis, let's do this. Ha. Powering up, Izuku went straight to blue. Whis nodded. Very well, then I suggest that you prepare yourself. With Beerus and Himari. Beerus requested that the two of them go somewhere where no one was, preferably off-planet. Himari suggested a planet she visited way back then. It was empty and the perfect place to train. The only problem was that it was about 10 light years away and any ship they had would take more than a week to get there. However, Beerus wasn't worried. You're talking about planet Grop, I know where it is. Come then, let's go. How? We don't have a ship that's fast enough and I can't breathe in space, explained Himari. Beerus sighed. Just grab onto me, I'll take you there. Himari was skeptical at first but decided to trust Lord Beerus. She looked over at Katsuki. I'll be back soon, Katsuki, make sure to train. Katsuki nodded. You got it. Just make sure you're stronger than Izuku when you come back. Himari smiled. I'll try. She then walked over to Lord Beerus and grabbed his shoulder. I'm ready. I'd hang on tight if I were you, things might be bumpy. Himari tightened her grip around Beerus's shoulder. As soon as she did, Beerus took off into the sky at light speed. A few seconds later, Beerus landed on planet Grop. We are here. Himari opened her eyes and looked around. We really are on planet Grop, amazing we got here so quick. Enough, let's get your training started, said Beerus. Alright, was what you said earlier true? Can I really learn it? Asked Himari. Beerus nodded. You can, but in reality Izuku would have been the better choice. Himari's eyes widened. What? I'm saying Izuku is better than you, and no matter how much you train, how much you fight, you will always be a second-rate Saiyan, said Beerus with a smirk. Himari's expression turned stone cold. Second-rate. You dare. I'll show you second-rate. In an explosion of ki, Himari transformed into a Super Saiyan 2. Lightning crackled around her as the golden light of a Super Saiyan blanketed the area. Charging at Beerus, Himari threw a powerful punch. Beerus dodged with ease, causing Himari's punch to miss. But even if she missed, the power behind that punch was enough to rip the ground in front of Himari into pieces. Gritting her teeth, Himari flew at Beerus, who had his back turned. Twisting her body, she went in to kick Beerus but was stopped when he put out his finger. This is pointless, you can't touch me. That only pissed Himari off. Flying back, she put out her hands and began to charge up a blast. I'll make you regret those words, Lord Beerus. Planetary. However, before she could fire, the blast suddenly turned purple and without warning it exploded in her hands. This caused her to be sent several thousand yards back. Hitting the ground, she slid to a stop with her hands bruised and her face covered in scratches. See, I told you it was useless, said Beerus appearing in front of Himari. What did you do? Asked Himari, confused as to what just happened. I destroyed your ki, explained Beerus. Destroyed my ki? Is that another technique you can use? Asked Himari. It is, and like I said before, so can you, said Beerus. I thought you said I was second rate. That I wasn't better than Izuku, said Himari, picking herself up. I did say that, but it was with reason. You Himari are strong, but you are blocking yourself, since you think of yourself as Izuku's second. You can't think like that if you want to become stronger. Destruction is the only thing on my mind, that is why I am strong. Like Ultra Instinct, you need to control your emotions, but unlike the calm and focus needed for Ultra Instinct. Destruction is pure rage, said Beerus. Then teach me. I need to become stronger for this tournament of power, said Himari, clenching her fists. You got drive, good. Let's begin, shall we? Said Beerus. Day 2. Izuku fell to his knees, his breathing was heavy, and he was sweating profusely. This is the hardest workout I have ever done. Whis appeared in front of Izuku. You are doing astonishing well for a mortal being. Thanks, so does this mean you can do it too? Asked Izuku. Whis nodded, yes, just in a much greater control. So there is a level beyond this? Asked Izuku, standing up. Yes and no, it's not a level per se but a state of mastery. But you can think of it as levels. I am at level 15, while you are somewhere near level 10. However, you have the potential to go even higher than that, more than me I dare say, said Whis. Izuku looked down at his hands. Greater power than you, that seems impossible. Whis laughed. Not impossible, you probably don't know this, but when you went Ultra Instinct before, you were already stronger than Beerus. While you did master it, it was only for a short while and your body couldn't keep up. So that's what happened after I defeated Shigaraki. Why did that happen? Asked Izuku. Besides your body being too weak, it was a matter of your mind. We have 5 more days here, we will do what we can, but even with everything there is no guarantee that you can master it, explained Whis. Right, let's get back to training, said Izuku, walking into the void. With Himari. Himari sat atop of a mountain meditating. The wind blew past her as she tried to focus. But she couldn't stand it. Opening her eyes, she stood up and yelled, oh come on. This is boring. Why do I have to sit there? Weren't you going to teach me how to use it? Beerus was asleep just at the mountain's base. Thanks to Himari's yelling, he woke up. Oh, shut up. I am teaching you. It is not my fault you find it boring. What the hell is sitting down and meditating teaching me about destruction? Asked Himari. Beerus rolled his eyes. Right now you have too much stuff on your mind. You have to let everything go and focus solely on one thing and one thing alone. Destruction. Everything else has to be purged from your mind. But if I do that, then I'll forget about everyone, Katsuki, Kagaya, and my friends. I can't do that, said Himari. But if you don't, your precious family and friends will be wiped from existence. Now which would you rather choose? Make your choice now, or stop wasting my time, said Beerus, staring down at Himari. Himari struggled to get her words out. Her lips trembled at just the thought of losing her family. I can't do that. Beerus turned away. Fine, then we are heading back to Earth. You can train there while I eat. But I also don't want to lose. I have to get stronger, but not by throwing everything away. I will learn how to use destruction without letting anything go, said Himari. Beerus stopped. That's just impossible. Even so, we Saiyans are known to do the impossible, said Himari with a smile. Beerus turned to Himari. That's just pride talking. Well, you are talking to a Saiyan. We are known for our pride, said Himari. Beerus sighed. Alright, let's see what we can do. Day 3, with Ochako and Katsuki. While the two Saiyans were off in a different dimension and a different planet, Katsuki had to make do with what he had on Earth. For this he got help from Ochako, he needed a place to train and she knew just the place to do it. After their partners left, Katsuki and Ochako took their kids to Ua, there they still had the gravity chamber where Katsuki could train. For 3 days Katsuki would train virtually non-stop, the only times he did stop was when he would eat with Kagaya and sleep at home. Ochako even went in a few times to spar with him, but she made sure to be careful, she was after all, carrying someone else inside her. However, Katsuki was pushing himself a bit too far. Ochako, Kagaya, and Isamu watched him train in 200 times normal gravity. Every move he did would threaten to flatten him into a pancake, this was evident by the bruises around his body. Is Dad going to be alright? Asked Kagaya. Ochako turned to the child, why yeah, he'll be fine for now at least, if he keeps this up he's going to get hurt. If it wasn't for his key training he would, maybe we should warn him. Pressing a button on the control panel outside, Ochako activated the intercom. Hey Katsuki, don't you think you're overdoing it? With sweat pouring down his face, Katsuki looked at the window. No. On the contrary, I don't think I'm pushing myself enough. Computer, increase gravity to 300 times. Ochako's eyes widened. Wait, no Katsuki. Just then the gravity room began to turn red and it increased the gravity. In the center of the room was a panel that had the current gravity level. Ochako watched as it went from 200, 210, 220, 240, all the while Katsuki felt the increased pressure. When it hit 280 times normal gravity, Katsuki began to tremble. At 290 he focused his ki into himself, but even that brought him down to his knees. At 295 the pressure was so much that he laid flat on his stomach. Finally at 300 he began to yell out in pain as his internal organs began to get smashed together. Computer, return gravity to normal, ordered Ochako. However, from his yells Katsuki's voice was heard, oh override. Disregard. That's when Katsuki fell unconscious. Katsuki, you fucking idiot. Ochako then placed her hand on the glass window. Closing her eyes she focused and using her quirk, she cancelled the gravity in the room. Kids, get in there and get him out. Don't worry, I cancelled the gravity, go. Ordered Ochako. The two kids nodded and opened the door to the room. They quickly picked up Katsuki and carried him out. Now outside Kagaya watched over her father. Hey dad, come on, wake up. Wake up. Out of the way kids, said Ochako pushing past them. She quickly checked his pulse. Good news is he'll live, bad news is once Hamari finds out he's dead. Let's get him to the medical bay for now. Touching his arm, Ochako used her quirk to float him all the way to the nurse's office. As they opened the door, Isamu smiled. Hey big sis Eri. Turning around, Eri saw the three. Oh hey bro, mom, so it was your key I was sensing. What brings you here? That's when Eri saw Katsuki floating. What did he do this time? Dad trained in 300 times normal gravity. Explained Kagaya. Eri's eyes widened. Of course he did, put him down on the bed. I'll fix him up right now. Ochako nodded and placed Katsuki on the bed. Eri walked over and placed a hand on his arm. Closing her eyes, Eri focused. Whoa, several broken bones, a cracked spleen, collapsed lung, and a concussion. He's lucky to be alive, give me a sec, I'll heal him up. Just then the horn on Eri's head began to glow. After a second her hand also began to glow. Over the years Eri learned that her power could be used for so much more than she originally thought. With enough practice she could now target specific areas in a person's body and reverse any damage. The only drawbacks was she needed to be touching the person, and the person still needed to be alive for it to work. Eri then opened her eyes. There we go, good as new. He should wake up soon. Thank you Eri, said Kagaya bowing. Eri smiled. Don't mention it, just make sure to chew him out when he wakes up. Kagaya nodded. Ochako looked at Katsuki. If he's pushing himself this far, I can only imagine how Izuku is. Please don't be doing anything reckless. Day 4, with Mirio. Since Mirio already had 100% use of one for all, he was as strong as he was going to get. However, that wasn't the only quirk he had. Few people knew this, but Mirio actually had 8. Permeation, one for all, Black Whip, Danger Sense, Float, and 3 other ones he kept secret. Are you seriously considering this? Asked Nejire, his wife. I am, said Mirio. We don't know what the other 3 are. For all we know they could kill you. Argued Nejire. Come on, say something Tamaki. Tamaki was Mirio's best friend, they were virtually inseparable. Normally I would, but after what he told us, can you really blame him for doing it? Nejire looked away, and no, but still. Trust me, it's going to be fine. I just need to talk to him and find out. Said Mirio sitting down. Alright, let's do this. Closing his eyes, Mirio began to focus and draw out one for all. Red lightning began to crackle around him, his face scrunched up, and after a few seconds, Mirio fell asleep. Mirio woke up in a room that was completely black. Hello? Anyone here? Mirio asked in the empty space. You don't have to yell man, said a voice through the void. Hey go easy on him, it's the second time he's done this. Said a feminine voice. You could have trained him better, this is your fault. Said another voice. I know, I wasn't the best teacher but I did a decent job all things considered. Said a voice Mirio recognized. Mirio looked around, All Might. Just then the black void was illuminated by a white light. The light blinded Mirio for a second. When he opened his eyes again he found himself sitting in a chair, surrounded by 8 other people. It's been a while hasn't it Mirio? Asked All Might. Mirio's eyes widened, It has. How are things out there? Asked All Might. Mirio smiled, Things are peaceful, especially with Izuku and Hamari there. Mirio's smile faltered, He misses you, you know. Yeah I know, I've tried visiting him in the other world but they won't let me. Said All Might, pointing to the previous users. We explained this before Toshinori. Our power is unique, you can't stay in the other world, your place is here inside of One for All. Said Nana. I know, but still. All Might sighed. Regardless, it's good to hear he's doing well. Better than well, he's the #1 hero and he's got another kid on the way. He would have loved for you to see them. Said Mirio. All Might nodded, Yeah I would have loved that too. Now tell us, why are you here? Oh right. So basically, I need all the power you guys have. It's a long story but if you don't give me it, then this whole universe is gone. Explained Mirio. The other users looked at him strangely, Excuse me what? I just told you, I need your power or everything will be destroyed. Repeated Mirio. He's telling the truth, said the first user. The situation is dire, but unfortunately, we can't give you everything. Why not? Asked Mirio. Because of what it can do to you. So many quirks bottled into someone would kill you. Even now, with the amount you have it's very likely that your lifespan has been reduced. Explained the fifth. That is why we can't, you would most likely die. And then no one would carry on our legacy. Explained the third. Mirio was shocked, but if you don't it will be over anyway. Besides, All for One is gone, that threat died when Shigaraki did. Explained Mirio. He makes a point, said Nana. It may be sad to say, but it seems One for All has accomplished its goal. No not yet, said All Might. Everyone turned to the former #1 hero, it seems like we have one more mission to accomplish. The first user stood up, so it seems, one final act of heroics. Oh what the hell, might as well be right. If you fail it won't even matter. Said the fifth. Alright Mirio, we'll give you the power you speak of. But just know that this won't last, you will have one chance to use it. And once you do, you will have a limited time with it, so use it wisely. Said All Might. Mirio nodded, Got it. Thank you all so much. The past users all raised their hands, Say hi to Izuku for me. And tell him I want him to do one thing, and that's to win. Mirio smiled, We plan on it. Just then another blinding white light shined covering Mirio. Opening his eyes he noticed that he was back in the real world. Mirio. How are you feeling? Asked Nejire. Mirio grabbed his head, I'm fine, how long was I out for? About 16 hours, we started to get worried. Said Tamaki. So did it work? Mirio nodded, Yeah, I got the rest. But I can't use them yet, when I do, I'll have a limited time with them. For now I'll think about how to use them in battle. Day 7. Izuku stood in front of Whis with his shirt almost completely torn off, his clothes were in shambles. Whis turned to the clock inside the time chamber, Looks like we are out of time. Izuku smiled, Thank you Whis, for everything. I can tell I'm a heck of a lot stronger than I was before. You are welcome, with this power you should be able to take down anyone in the tournament, explained Whis. About this tournament, do you think there is someone as strong as me out there? Asked Izuku. Whis thought about it, it's hard to say, in the past there was someone that even a god of destruction couldn't destroy but now. I think there are several people like that now. Times have changed and I do not know if they got stronger or not. Izuku took a deep breath, I see, well there's no point in worrying about it. With your training and my new power, nothing can get in my way. That's the spirit, now shall we head out? It's almost time. Izuku nodded, they both began to walk towards the door. Outside Ochako, Katsuki, Mirio, and everyone else were standing outside in the lookout. So when are they going to come out? Asked Katsuki. It should be real soon, so are you feeling better? Asked Ochako. Katsuki nodded, Yeah, sorry I did something dangerous. Don't apologize, the stakes are high so I get why you did it. Although you are going to have to explain it to Hamari, said Ochako. Just then those who could sense Ki felt something approaching from the sky. Speak of the devil, said Katsuki looking to the sky. With such speed Hamari and Beerus landed on the lookout so hard that they shook the entire structure. Standing in front of them was Hamari wearing her now broken Saiyan armor, her skin slightly exposed. Katsuki's eyes widened, Hamari, is that you? Hamari stood proud as she looked around, Hey Katsuki, yeah it's me. Wow you've gotten a lot stronger haven't you? Katsuki smiled, I can say the same thing about you. I hardly recognized you, your ki has grown exponentially. Mom! Yelled out Kagaya, running from behind Katsuki. Hamari kneeled down and hugged her child, Hey there Kagaya, miss me? Of course I did. But if you get stronger then that's all that matters. Said Kagaya. Hamari smiled, she has gotten quite strong young one, said Beerus. Enough to take anyone down in this tournament? Asked Katsuki. That is something we have to wait and see, explained Beerus. As everyone talked amongst themselves suddenly felt a wave of energy crash into them. Even those who couldn't sense ki felt the overwhelming energy. What the hell is that? Asked Todoroki. Ochako's attention turned to the mansion on the lookout. It's Izuku. Walking out of the mansion was Izuku with Whis right behind him. Izuku looked around. Looks like everyone is here, good. Izuku walked out of the shadow of the building. He looked the same physically but everyone could tell he was different. That's when a whistle was heard. The training really did a number on you, huh, Izuku, said Himari. Izuku smiled. It sure did, and I can tell training with Beerus worked out for you. Ochako then walked up to her husband and smiled. Good to see you're still in one piece. What, did you doubt me? Ochako, I'm hurt. You know I'm stronger than that, said Izuku with a fake terror in his eyes. Ochako pouted and punched him in the ribs. I didn't mean it like that, Izuku. Izuku laughed. I know. So is everyone ready? Asked Beerus. The 4 fighters that were chosen stood front and center. Yeah, we are ready, said Izuku. Where's the 5th fighter? Asked Beerus. Himari looked around. I mean, do we need another fighter? You got the best right here. Whis thought about it. It would be better if we find the final fighter. If Zeno doesn't like us showing up with only 4, he might destroy us before we even start. But we have so little time left. There's no way we'll find someone as strong as us. Ochako said she wouldn't participate, said Katsuki. We could always ask someone else to fight, said Himari, turning to the former Class 1A. They all quickly shook their head. However, that's when Izuku got an idea, a very dumb idea. Let's bring back Shigaraki. Everyone turned to Izuku. Are you out of your mind? Yelled out Himari. Why would you consider bringing back that monster? I have to agree with Himari on this one, Izuku, said Ochako. Why bring him back? You all know as well as I do that he is strong. Right now all that matters is strength and he is strong, said Izuku. Even so, he almost killed us last time, Izuku. Don't you remember that? Besides, it's not like we can bring him back anyways, said Himari. Actually we can, said Whis, much to the surprise of everyone. I can bring someone back to life, or temporarily bring them back for a short while. See. Then it all works out, said Izuku. However, that's when Izuku felt a tug on his torn clothes. Looking over he saw Ochako. I don't like this, Izuku. What if he decides to kill you this time? Izuku grabbed Ochako's hand. It's fine, he won't. I'm a lot stronger than he is now, I think, but regardless, if we bring him back, even for a bit, it could mean we win this tournament. Ochako looked at Izuku's green eyes. She sighed. Alright, but if he tries anything, promise me you'll kill him. Izuku nodded. I promise. Ochako smiled. Well, alright then. I know you guys don't like it, I feel the same way. But if it means our universe lives, then I'm willing to take that risk, said Izuku. Himari walked up to Izuku. Alright Izuku, we'll go with your suggestion. However, we are only bringing him back for this tournament. If we win, we send him back to hell. Izuku nodded. Deal. But how do you plan on going to hell, Izuku? Asked Mirio. I'll just go to the other world first and make my way down, explained Izuku. Whis. Right, I do believe your instant transmission would be fastest. Walking over, Whis placed a hand on Izuku's shoulder. When he did, Izuku's injuries and torn clothes were repaired. Let's go. Izuku nodded and placed 2 fingers on his forehead. I'll be back before you know it. And with a thwip the 2 were gone. Other world. Goku and Vegeta were in an open field sparring with each other. What's wrong, Kakarot? Has being up here made you weak? Asked Vegeta. Goku punched Vegeta across the face. In your dreams, and besides, if I got weaker that sure means you did too. The 2 were about to crash into each other when Izuku appeared in front of them. The 2 Saiyans tried to stop their punches, but it was too late. However, before they could hit, Izuku leaned back, dodging both attacks. Izuku stood in the middle of them like nothing had happened. Hey guys. It's been a while. The 2 Saiyans floated in the air, stunned at what they were feeling. Kakarot. Do you feel that? His ki. Why yeah, it's insane. Wow, he's so much stronger than he was last time, said Goku. Izuku, as much as I like reunions, we must hurry, explained Whis. Right, hey guys, sorry about this, but can you 2 take me down to hell? I need to talk to someone, said Izuku. Goku and Vegeta looked at each other. Hell. Why? Asked Goku. In short, there's another tournament of power and we need another fighter, explained Izuku. Another tournament of power. Why weren't we informed? Asked Vegeta. Don't know, listen, we don't have much time, please, take me to hell, said Izuku. Goku and Vegeta agreed to take Whis and Izuku down to hell. They were now in the deepest part of hell. The group landed in front of a giant mountain with a demon seal that covered the entire rock. Whoa, so this is where he is, said Izuku. Not only him, the other 2 are there as well, said Goku. Other 2? Asked Izuku, confused. Whis undid the seal and began to walk in. As soon as Izuku stepped into the mountain, he felt a massive ki source. Oh, now I know who you are talking about. As they walked deeper into the cave, Izuku could sense they were getting closer. Well, look who's here, said a voice to Izuku's right. Looking over, Izuku saw E23 chained up. What, did they run out of space in heaven? Izuku ignored E23 and continued walking deeper into the mountain. You have grown strong, Izuku, said a voice to his left. Looking over, Izuku saw Vent also chained up. Very strong, I almost want to fight you right now. Keep dreaming, Vent, said Izuku walking by Vent. The group was now standing in front of a large metal door. Are you sure about this, Izuku? Asked Goku. Izuku nodded, yes. Goku saw the determination in Izuku's eyes. Turning around, Goku began to open the doors. As he did, black ki began to spew out of the door. Izuku stood firm against the menacing aura. I'll go alone. Walking in, Izuku saw him, Shigaraki, chained by the neck, arms, and legs. So it was you. I thought I sensed you outside. What do you want? Here to gloat, cause you are a few years too late for that, said Shigaraki. Izuku smiled up at Shigaraki. No, actually, I'm here to offer you a way out of here. Shigaraki raised an eyebrow. A way out? Why? Call it an emergency, and as much as I hate to say it, I need your help, said Izuku. My help? You need my help. Ha 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 ha. Shigaraki's laugh echoed throughout the mountain. However, he looked down to see Izuku with a very serious look. Oh, you mean it? Tell me what's going on. In short, if we don't win a tournament, this whole universe will be erased from existence, said Izuku. We need a team of 5, we have 4, but we need one more strong person. That's where you come in, join us and you can get out of here temporarily. Interesting, but why would I help you? Asked Shigaraki. Izuku smiled. Don't you want to get out of here? You know, stretch your legs, fight for a bit. It would be nice to move around, so tell me, what's in it for me? Asked Shigaraki. Izuku narrowed his eyes. I just said it. No, I want more. I want to be revived, said Shigaraki. You can't, remember you killed Dend. When he died, the Dragon Balls stopped working, explained Izuku. I see, probably shouldn't have killed him then. Alright then, we'll work something out later. Cut me loose, said Shigaraki, rattling the chains. Izuku pointed a finger at Shigaraki and fired 5 blasts, each that hit the chains binding him. Landing on the ground, Shigaraki began to stretch, popping his bones in the process. So are you willing to help? Asked Izuku. Sure, but I just want to know one more thing. Can I kill during the tournament? Asked Shigaraki. Yes, you can, said Izuku. Shigaraki smiled. How wonderful, I get to blow off some steam. Alright, I'll help you. Good, let's go then. We don't have much time. Izuku turned around and began to walk away, when all of a sudden Shigaraki charged at Izuku. Shigaraki threw a punch, only to have it caught by Izuku. The two locked eyes, daring the other to attack. Are you done? Asked Izuku. Shigaraki smiled and pulled back his fist. Yes, just wanted to make sure, that's all. Without saying another word, Izuku and Shigaraki walked out of the cell. Goku and Vegeta were on guard when Shigaraki walked out, so this is him, huh? Tisk, to think the Earth could produce such monsters, said Vegeta. You're telling me, I thought we Saiyans were strong. Looks like we underestimated humans once again, said Goku. Whis, this is him, said Izuku. Whis nodded and manifested his staff, a temporary revival rite. Should be simple enough. Pointing his staff at Shigaraki, a white light began to engulf the villain. After a few seconds passed, the white light began to fade and out appeared Shigaraki with a halo over his head. There we are, he is now revived for the next 5 hours. Explained Whis. Izuku nodded. Good, let's go back. The others are waiting for us. Grab onto me, Shigaraki. Whis placed a hand on Izuku, but Shigaraki stared at him for a second before grunting and walking over to him. I'll see you too soon, guys. Bye for now, said Izuku as they disappeared with a thwip. The lookout. Everyone waited patiently for Izuku's return. Do you honestly think he'll help us? Asked Mirio. Don't know, but if he doesn't, we need to start thinking of another fighter, said Ochako. Just then the group felt Izuku's ki reappear, and looking over they saw Izuku and Whis appear from around the corner. Izuku, how'd it go? Asked Hamari. See for yourself, said Izuku. Looking behind him, Hamari watched as Shigaraki began to walk towards them. So many familiar faces, how have you been? Asked Shigaraki. Ochako stood in front of Isamu. Great until you popped into our heads again. Shigaraki laughed. Ochako, you've certainly gotten stronger. Oh, and who's that behind you? Could it be your son? Isamu cowered behind Ochako. Do anything to them, and I'll make sure you cease to exist, said Izuku. Oh, scary, I won't do anything as long as I fight, said Shigaraki. He then looked around and saw Hamari. Oh, the female Saiyan, looks like you two have a kid. Congratulations. Kagaya stood beside her mother. Hey mom, who's this dry-faced guy? Asked Kagaya. No one, dear, now get behind me, ordered Hamari. Kagaya did what she was told. No need to be afraid of me, I won't do anything, said Shigaraki with a smile. Shut it, ash face. The only reason you're here is because we had no other choice. If it were up to me, hell would have been the least of your problems, yelled out Katsuki. Right, now let's get on with this. I don't have all day, literally, said Shigaraki. Whis agreed. Alright then, just a second, I'll inform the Grand Priest. Izuku turned to Ochako and Isamu, keep the planet safe while we're gone, okay? Ochako smiled, count on us Izuku, we won't let you down. Izuku nodded and kneeled down to Isamu, keep your mom and your sibling safe, okay? Isamu nodded, you bet I will. No one will hurt mom or the baby. Good, I knew I could trust you, said Izuku, roughing up Isamu's hair. Izuku stood up, in case we don't see each other again, however before he could finish, Ochako pressed her lips up against Izuku's. The two kissed and after a few seconds they pulled away, you'll win, I know you will. I'll see you soon Izuku. I love you. I love you too Ochako. Said Izuku. Alright everyone, please come here we are about to be teleported to the arena. Yelled out Whis. Izuku turned and walked towards the rest of the fighters. They stood around each other, hey Whis, let's get these guys some proper clothing. Said Beerus. Right I almost forgot. Said Whis, tapping his staff twice he changed the clothes of everyone, while at the same time healing them. Mirio, Izuku, and Katsuki all wore their hero costumes. Himari wore her Saiyan armor, and Shigaraki got his old villain costume. Now we are ready, oh and if you wish to see the fight. Take this. Said Whis, tapping his staff once again. Seemingly out of thin air a giant screen appeared in front of the group. It will show the fight as long as we are still alive. Come on guys win. Yelled out the former Class 1A students. You better show the other universes why we are number one. Izuku and Himari smiled, we will, make sure to throw us a nice party when we're done. Said Himari. Let's be off then. Grand Priest, we are ready. Said Whis. Just then the group of 5 fighters began to teleport away. Izuku looked at Ochako and Isamu one last time, he knew what he was fighting for and he wasn't about to let anyone get in his way. With a blinking white light the group disappeared. Ochako looked up to the sky, you better come back to me Izuku. I still haven't forgotten the promise you made so many years ago.